And welcome back, everyone, to another heart-stopping, pulse-pounding, other words of speedrunning underground. Episode something. I didn't even throw in the word in there. I was thinking the last thing, I was like, oh, I want to say something. It's episode 118. Let's try something different. We fumbled it. It's all right. We'll pick it back up. We'll put it in the pot. I'm Spikevegeta. Who the fuck are you?
I'm JHobz, and man, I was just grooving along to the music at the top there. I almost didn't want to even go live. Like, just keep letting it play. Shovel Knight music is so great. And Shovel Knight is what we have for all of you today, but not just one, not just two, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But potentially up to 4 Shovel Knight campaigns. There is a, just 4-pack sitting there waiting in the back of the fridge for everybody out there if we can make it happen. Because here on Speedrunning Underground, what we do is we take 2 runners of various games week to week and pit them against each other in battle for a prize pool consisting of a portion of the subs and bits that you all throw down in chat throughout the night. So today, you are going to get guaranteed a Shovel of Hope any % race between MooMooAkai and davidtki. But if you all throw down enough in chat during this September Monday, might I add, then we will actually get Plague Knight's campaign unlocked as well, which they will roll right into seamlessly with no break. And if we get even more after that, so it's $50 to unlock Plague Knight. If we get to $100, it's $250 for every sub, gift sub, Prime Gaming sub, resub, and it's 1 cent for every bit. If we get to 100, we will unlock the next campaign. I was like about to say King Knight for a second.
Additional 100, just to make sure.
Yeah. To
get to 150.
Sorry, 150. Yeah. That'll be Spectre Knight, and if we get to 300 in the total, then we will get King Knight unlocked. I said that in a really roundabout way, but regardless, we did.
We made sure the numbers were as complicated as possible for all y'all throwing down time. But again, guys, half of all of the subs, resubs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits thrown down in the chat tonight will also contribute to the prize pool for our runners. Of that cut, 70% going to the winner, 30% to second place. So both of them vying for hopefully a nice deep pot that you guys can throw down into. And like you said, Hobbs, it is September. We haven't been talking about it a lot on this channel, but 20% off subs for all first-time subscribers and gift subs all throughout the month. So if you want to throw down and still have that same amount and go down, let's do it. Let's do it, chat. Yeah. You want to give a shout-outs to Darkamist, probably Darkarmist. Thank you for the 300 bits. Primorix, thank you for the 100 bits. Necrofits for the 50 bits. We got Princess Neko Cakes coming in with 14 months. McKay coming in with 10 months. Princess Neko Cakes with the 555 bits. And with that, we are sitting right now at our total at $33.55. Almost only $16, $16.45 away from adding Plague Knight onto the end of this playthrough. They keep coming in. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We had a bunch thrown down earlier as well while we were still getting everything set up. So Necrofits and Dark Armist, I think we're both in that as well. So as well as Zahariel. Thank you all so much. But what we got for today should be really fun because MooMooAkai and davidtki, when we were looking at putting a race together for this game, there was practically no better pair we could have picked.
Yeah.
These two are basically, they're very close in like 2 of the games, and then in the other 2 of the games, the distance that like one that Moomoo is better than David is better than Moomoo in the other one. Yeah. So like this, if we can get to all 4 campaigns, should be a very close race. I know that these 2 have been practicing as well, which we always appreciate. Not always a thing on SRU.
Yeah, sometimes they just roll on in.
I don't.
And
hey,
it's great.
Not always a thing by design, because a lot of the times we're doing improv races and stuff, right? But these 2 were like, no, this sounds really fun. Let's just practice and do a bunch of like all campaigns runs. So it'd be really cool to put all of their practice to the test and get all 4 of those campaigns. But in the meantime, we are getting set up for Shovel of Hope. What, Spike, you just played through all these recently. What would you say is probably your favorite out of these 4 campaigns?
I enjoy them almost more as I went along. Like, Plague Knight was probably like a small drop off for me personally from Shovel Knight. I think just because of like no interesting like added level design and whatnot. But Spectre Knight and King Knight for me, 2 of my favorite 2D platforming playthroughs I have had in the last like 5+ years of doing casual playthroughs and stuff on stream. I think they're both absolutely fantastic. So the fact that they are the furthest away from being a part of tonight makes me sad. I hope we're able to get the prize pool filled up. I know we're already getting close there for Plague Knight. Y'all got them. Let's throw them down. But I don't know. So I'm like a tie between Spectre and King. Where would you lean, Hobbs?
Oh, man, I do love them all. I agree. I think Spectre Knight is probably my favorite, and it's definitely the one that I've watched the speed run the most for Shovel and Spectre. So those are the ones I'm going to be most familiar with, and Spectre Knight in general, I know I've watched like a ton of. So I am excited for those. To note for commentary this week, folks, I think it's going to be pretty casual for the both of us. We've watched so much of this game that we didn't feel like we were going to go and do really hardcore prep. We just wanted to have a lot of fun watching and talking about Shovel Knight with all of you today. So, like, as always, if you are an expert in these games, feel free to hop into chat and let us know when we're being complete dumbasses. But
which is the whole time. Don't worry, we're prepared for this. Yeah.
But we are going to do our best here to try to make things digestible for all of you. And here we go, kicking off into our Shovel of Hope campaign.
Yeah, where it all began, like almost, God, what, 7-8 years ago? This game's so old, honestly, at this point. Now, to note, they are both starting with different colors on their armor right now. That is just a cosmetic thing, but there is armor they can pick up later in the game, and I believe in any percent they will be picking it up. But here we are going through the first level.
Yeah, so the main basics here, if you're not familiar with Shovel Knight, you have just a shovel and the ability to jump, and it's a pretty high jump, honestly, to be fair. This is basically a 2-button game, so you can pogo off of things, as you're seeing, in order to gain some height or just kind of move swiftly through an area, or you can get hit by an enemy like Moo. Way to go, Moo. Good job on that one.
Yeah.
We got to give him a little bit of credit. But you can also swing at things, and importantly, a factor that will become apparent pretty quickly is that while an enemy is taking damage from you, you are immune to taking damage from them, if that makes sense. So there are a lot of times where you're going to see them hit an enemy and then walk right through them. You kind of just saw it from David to a degree. Moo's doing a similar thing. So that kind of thing happens a lot in this game, and it's one of the ways that they're able to move swiftly through some of the larger enemies.
Yeah, a lot of the, really all of the other characters that we could see tonight do have kind of built-in ways to boost forward and whatnot. Shovel Knight is a lot more, like you say, kind of straightforward, so they have to be a lot more creative in how to get him to move fast. Like little cool platforming tricks right there, just making sure they do a little pogo, little Scrooge McDuck, or Cranky Kong, you prefer, off of enemies to just cut out having to wait on platforming cycles and whatnot.
Yeah,
and David has built up a little bit of a race here.
Just a little bit. I think Moo's shaking out some nerves or something, because I just saw, a few very minor hiccups here and there. But now what they're setting up for is actually a glitch here. They're going to be screen wrapping in such a way that they're going to move further in the stage. You can see David just pulled that one off now. They were manipulating the way that those bubbles were going to get spit out, so that way they could make that happen. That was something that, if I remember correctly, actually was found, got patched out, and then the devs put it back in. and made it, I think, even smoother or something. I could be mistaken on the exact details, but I know that is developer approved, basically. Now a quick stun lock here on Black Knight, which is just going to be constantly jumping and attacking him with a very set rhythm. If they do it a little bit too quickly, the damage won't apply. The boss is going to break out and run away. A little too slow, boss is going to break out, maybe try to hit you and cause a bad time. But they are both seasoned veterans at this game, and so they were able to keep that stun lock going for the entire thing.
Yeah, it does look like Moo in the second half was able to make up a little bit of time potentially on the screen wrap, but here he is just a few seconds behind David, coming out of the intro screen. Do want to give a shout out to everybody who's been throwing down, locking up the Plague Knight campaign to follow up. Right after this, they'll roll into it at $150 total, of which we need another $89. We will unlock the Spectre Knight playthrough. But here we are in King Knight stage, our first of the main night stages they'll be going through.
Yes. Pridemore Keep, a fantastic level. So also some great music. Really cool trick we just saw. If we could replay on Moo's side there, that screen transition, that was a jump through the transition while doing a swing at a precise time. And the way that it works is they actually get a lot of extra height from that transition. You can see it right there. So they're able to just jump straight all the way up to that ledge, which I just think is really neat. Very small things. I think with Shovel Knight, one of the big things is that there aren't as many big glitches or speed tech kinds of combinations of things sometimes, but there are so many small things going on at every moment on every single screen, basically.
Oh, seeing our first breaking of a checkpoint right there. And David actually elected to pick up a little bit of cash. Moo not picking up. So maybe just a little bit of swag right there, breaking them. The checkpoint system in these games, for anyone who's not familiar, is they get those checkpoints as they go by them, and they work like any other checkpoint. Yeah, you die, you go back to them. However, if you break them, which you can, sometimes for swag, sometimes for the money, though, you get the money out of it. So they can use that money to go towards buying any of the various upgrades and whatnot throughout the run.
Some classic damage boosting happening to get past that Griffin, as you will see multiple times throughout this Mega Man inspired, I'd say, game. Lots of just kind of turning at the last moment. You can see we were trying to do it there, but unfortunately got knocked back just a little bit. And if they turn at the last moment, then they can get knocked in the direction they are traveling. David now into a room with these little, magic book platforms. Going to try to make these fire cycles as best as he can without slowing down too much. Has to wait just a tiny bit on that one, but waited the perfect amount so that he could keep holding right the entire time through the next section.
Very beautifully done by both of our runners right there. Moo with the damage boost at the end as well. Want to give a big shout out to Grovatron for the 10 pack of subs and Flair for the 1,500 bits. Already over $100, over halfway to locking up the Spectre Knight. And I badly want to see Spectre Knight play tonight. But here we are, King Knight, a little preview.
King Knight. This is such an amazing fight. So this is a low percent fight effectively. They just still have the shovel. They have not purchased any tools. They did a lot of really rapid hits, again, with those jump swings. If you jump and swing, you basically cancel out the need to, have these recovery frames from your swing. Lots of bouncing up on King Knight as well. And then as he gets closer to the ceiling, you actually don't jump as high, so you can hit him again from that bounce just a lot faster. I remember grinding that out when I was trying to learn low percent, and it is really hard. Runners made it look really easy. I think Moo took a little bit of damage there. Might have just been a slightly, didn't go quite as well for him, but this race is still obviously very close.
Yeah, looking at if we're able to lock up all four campaigns, I believe both these runners have been clocking in times around like the 240, 245 region. So long race we got here. Potentially a lot of chivalry going on tonight and potentially other types as we go. But here we are now in the Spectre Knight stage of Shovel Knight's campaign.
Yeah, this is going to be, this is what, the Lich Yard. Yeah, the Lich Yard.
Yeah.
I had to remember not to say Lich Field like I classically did in GDQ commentary forever ago. But so this is kind of, I'd say, the first major instance of RNG that comes into play in this run occasionally, which are the frogs that are jumping. They can decide, whether they want to jump at you or not, and that the runners have to react to that a little bit. So we saw Moo take damage early on in the stage because he got a bad pattern. David didn't take damage until later when the frogs were getting in his way a little bit. Also get some of these other cool mechanics that are going on here, Spike.
Yeah, right here, I'm just having to deal with some of the level mechanics themselves right there. Love juggling up those little helmets right there, those kind of crowns, because as more stuff is weighed on these platforms, they go up and down, which obviously you sometimes need to get through the level, but also can end up killing you if you let it go too deep.
Mm-hmm. Man, I just realized I can't wait until we get to some of the other campaigns when we get to the same stages with the different music, or we get to the same stage with the same music and we're like, oh, fuck talking about it, let's just crank the music this time and listen to it. I love this track so much. Quick health refill from both of them as they popped off that skeleton and up onto the what I don't remember what those silver dishes are called, but I'm just gonna call it a silver dish.
Yeah, the silver dish, the classic.
Gotta get some classic meat for health.
Get at your local Outback Steakhouse, the silver dish.
David slapping that checkpoint for a little bit of safety before moving on. Moo doing the same.
I like how it kind of recoils them into the transition just a little bit.
I think honestly that is just as big of a reason to do it as any amount of safety. I don't think they're very concerned with dying here. Although there are some bottomless pits that really start to come into play here. You can see as the screen is flashing bright and dark, he could be a little bit tricky to do the platform occasionally. We're coming into our next boss here, Spectre.
Yep, here he is, Spectre in his flying form. Could see him on his feet a little bit later on. Now, coming back and forth, I believe they do a little bit of pattern manipulation in a way right here, knowing exactly where he's going to go.
Yeah, that first time is guaranteed on where he's going to travel. And then I believe this next one is where it could be on either side of the screen. So they both got the same pattern there that went to the opposite side. And it looked like they had a very similar fight. I don't think we really saw much lead or much, difference in the lead coming into the Lich Yard and going out of it here.
Yeah, another almost like mini stun lock as well, kind of constantly recoiling him back into the wall. Beautiful stuff by both of our runners. Again, very, very tight through the first 2 stages right there. And you can see how quickly these campaigns can go by. Each of them coming in. I believe Shovel Knight is actually the longest of the 4. Again, Moo coming in with the PB advantage at the very least in Shovel Knight at a 43-42 to David's 44-27. So about a 45-second advantage right there. And then, yeah, they just slowly get shorter. Plague Knight, they both have 40s. Spectre Knight, it's going to drop to 37 versus a 38. And then King Knight, super lightning quick at a 30 versus a 32. So, yeah.
Wow. But of course, David, the one with the lead at the moment, just a couple seconds, they get out of that dream sequence. A little bit faster to lose all your health there rather than wait for Shield Knight to just show up naturally. And that's going to unlock further bits of the world map as they continue on to the next stage. This one is going to, of course, be down to, I was about to say Treasure Knight. That's not right. Mole Knight. The Treasure Knight is still to come.
Yeah, another absolute banger track right here. And this is a level that features a lot of auto-scroller-like sequences. But if our runners have anything to say about it, they won't be very auto-scrollery.
Yeah, I actually think that's one of Shovel Knight's like really big unique strengths to me is that they know how to design an auto-scroller to never feel like an auto-scroller and to also like be able to be circumvented a lot of the time. So David waited for a specific pattern from that bird before releasing it from its cage so that it would be flying right here so he could get all the way across. That is the first beetle skip of this stage. There is a second one yet to come. And then a quick damage boost to pass through this little mini boss enemy. I guess not really a mini boss, but just a larger enemy.
Yeah, he has a pretty good deck I saw the other day while playing through King Knight's campaign.
Boy, that could have been a very different sentence with one vowel change. But Dave's going to be
believe it or not. Here we are, rolling deep. Okay.
Getting ahead into the next section. And I love that these two have been so close that it's real easy for Richard. He could just do the double replay for everything that's happening here. Some quick little kind of puzzle platforming, I'd say this section kind of is. But they are going to take a deviation here now. Going left in my platformer? What could be going on here? They're both going to be picking up the Dust Knuckles. And this is one of the things that they have been grinding the gold for to a degree. They haven't really had to worry about it yet, having to like grind for money. They've just gotten enough from the stages and fights that they've been doing. But the Dust Knuckles are going to be a very efficient way for them to move through like multiple enemies or dust blocks in a row. And you're going to see it get used for combat quite a bit in this run as well.
You see right there, just first little application of it, charging through some enemies, just clear them out of the way. And then that awesome strat to go over the top. Oh my gosh.
The lead change because David tried to punch that green block and have it land on the right side of the lava. But unfortunately for him, it landed on the left side. Let's take a look at that replay at the bottom. You can see he's bouncing on the left. Moo continuing on to the right, bouncing straight ahead there. So there's our first lead change of the race. Moo taking a very small one now. And both of them are going to set up for their second beetle skip.
Yeah, right here, going to be using those Dust Knuckles, like you're saying, to charge through those birds and then come up here and then line up on those 2 blocks to go through them, saving time, getting your time back basically instantly from buying those. Beautiful stuff.
Love it. And here into the Mole Knight boss fight. This one's not going to last very long either. Going to try to get in as many swipes as they can with each pass. I believe it's 2 to 3 that you can get in. And then actually deflecting some of the little sparks back at him before charging into some Dust Knuckles as he gets locked in the corner before he can ever really throw many blocks at you. Slightly faster fight there for Moo, but overall still very smooth from both of our runners.
I'll say liked David right there, just getting locked into the corner right there, recoiling him into the wall. I can't tell y'all how difficult. Hobbs brought it up. I had like wanted to put a little bit of time into learning Shovel Knight like 5 years ago after like war or something. And I was like, holy shit, jumping and swinging like that, constantly canceling it near the ground. Very, very, very difficult. So cool to see these runners pulling it off with ease. Now going into Plague Knight stage. The Explodatorium, I think it was, or something.
Yes, the Explodatorium is correct, and I believe that oftentimes this is regarded as one of the more difficult stages for runners. I think that there's usually a lot of frustration applied to this one, but we're seeing a route difference.
Yes.
Because David is not here. He's actually off in Treasure Knight stage right now. So we are going to be not entirely certain who's in the lead for quite a while now until these routes converge again. And that's interesting. I don't know the exact reasoning for these two route differences here. I would imagine it comes down mostly to like purchases and like where you get your money for those purchases. So maybe before their next big purchase, David prefers to do a stage that is often regarded slightly safer, whereas Moomoo is okay with going through Explodatorium. I'm guessing, I'm just making speculation that is the slightly faster route in this case.
Yeah, Engage, another top runner of Shovel Knight's campaigns in the chat, talking about possibly wanting the coin, but yeah, it doesn't look like Moomoo's picking up the coin right there. I do know a item that they can get here. I don't know if they necessarily pick it up in the run. Is the anvil, whatever it's called in this, the
David,
axe thrower, for David. So maybe it's preference of having that for Explodatorium, but we will see. Using more Dust Knuckles there on the left side for Moomoo, getting up against the wall, jumping and swinging as long as he can. The alley-oop to himself on the potion right there to deal even more damage, and then transition as he's turning into the beast.
Yeah, I love that as soon as that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of creature there changes, it's just immediately done, and Moomoo's already moving on. And as you were talking about, like, David does have the option of grabbing that anchor in this level. Not sure if we'll see that. Looks like he's not going to. Just going to continue onwards, because I believe that chest is where he would have grabbed that one.
Yeah, that's where you would have got it right after that boss fight. Oh, beautiful. Baiting out the enemy right there and then popping off him to put him in the perfect spot.
Yeah, it's fun seeing these two different stages, like, and trying to figure out, okay, which one's about to be doing something cool. Oh, it turns out it's usually both of them. Moomoo did have to wait on a cycle there. One thing to note is that those cycles, those purple cauldrons, are actually on a global cycle from the moment they enter the level. So him having to wait there might have meant that he was a tad slow, or it might have meant that he was so fast that he was almost making the next cycle.
Oh,
either way,
God.
Now going to be on. Go ahead.
Now, give me a replay on the right side from David, catching the very ends of those platforms of these anchors right here. Look at these suckers, just, God. And then the pogo off of that blast from the enemy right there. Beautiful stuff. Meanwhile, Moomoo's fighting Plague Knight.
Moomoo had a very strong start to this fight. Things were looking good, but then the doctor just started jumping around. Thankfully, was able to wrap him up. Only a heart and a half to his name, but it's the battle is not over when it comes to SRU, because David's into Treasure Knight now. Already that boss has 2 full hearts left and melted before he could even really decide what he wanted to do. Just unbelievable damage these two can push out when they are doing these jump swings to constantly like reset their attacks, mixing in the Dust Knuckles, which does use that magic resource, so they have to know exactly when they want to use it. It is just impressive how quickly the Knights can fall.
Now picking up their only armor piece of the run, at least for Moomoo right here. We'll see if David decides to route it in now or not. But I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what that armor allows them to do is take double damage, but they have twice as much mana effectively to utilize all of their different skills. Yes,
that is my understanding of it as well. It might even be like 1.5 additional times or something. I don't know, but regardless, that is my understanding of it. And it looks like in this case, David just prefers to have that, prefers to deal with Treasure Knight stage before having that, and Moomoo decides to deal with Explodatorium before having that. So I would imagine that's mostly up to runner preference. Probably some very minor strat differences as a result of having more magic in each corresponding stage. But it's really cool to just see that, and we should get these two converging pretty much at the ends of their respective stages.
Yeah, the nice thing about preferences here on routing is that for speedrun commentary, for racing commentary, is the world opens up in chunks. So they would have had to do these other levels next before they can move to the last set of nights, the last 3.
Man, I just love grooving to the music in this game too sometimes.
It's so good, dude.
Like, oh, just gotta shut up and listen to it. So many good tracks.
Yeah, I can't think of one that's just like not fantastic as they go through. Also, they picked up one other upgrade. I believe it's effectively like a charge swing that they get to use there. So they can utilize it in certain spots. Also in that same shop where they did the purchase after this or before these last levels.
The charge slash is going to do double damage as well. So most of their slashes generally do a half of a little, heart, I guess. I think everybody tends to refer to them as hearts, but the little circles of damage. It generally, every swing does a half. The charge swing is going to do double that. And also it can help them kind of get through, I believe, some more difficult enemies, like some types of shields and stuff.
Beautifully done right there from Moo on that boss. Again, just being able to get some charge shots and then just, as you can see, just kind of juggle yourself in the air with those dust knuckles.
David stopping for a moment to pick up a little bit of extra money from the beast back there. But it is nice seeing that with the addition of the like maximum magic being increased, with this armor, they're able to just use those dust knuckles way more frequently as well for movement. Great skip on the fairy there from David. We weren't able to highlight that one earlier from Moomoo, but I'm pretty sure he got it just as well.
Yeah, we're back at the scary little anchor spot. It looks like you're just kind of holding right, and eventually it will get below you, and you have just a little bit of time.
Oh, no. Moomoo. Rejected by the bodyguard there. Not quite able to get through, and is going to take a death for it. But I do believe he got every checkpoint along the way.
No, there's one checkpoint he skipped.
Yeah.
I think you have to turn around for it. So
in that room, the checkpoint in that room. So that was like the maximum distance he could have been going, really, in this specific case. So unfortunate death for Moomoo, the first one that we're seeing in this run. But wouldn't be shocked if it's not the last. It's always hard to pull out a perfect run in a no reset scenario. Now, David's going to be here on the Dr. Knight, as they've been rebranding him during some of the promotions in the last couple of years, which I think is really clever and fun. David gets some good damage in, boss down to 3.5. Charge slashes abound, are dealing tons for David's purposes here. Not quite able to finish the boss. Very similar situation to what we were seeing from Moomoo. Just wants to deflect these potions and have a couple of them hit him, but thankfully was eventually able to wrap that one up. Moomoo did not bother to pick up all of his gold. He did get a little bit of it when he went back to the room he died in. So not sure if he doesn't need any more for the rest of the run, or if he just knows that it's not worth his time to go grab it all. And he can just get some more later.
Yeah, I figure they're at least going to be picking up the dagger and the gear later on, I would think. But again, this is some of the fun of it. Is like, we are not runners of these games we get to feature every week here on SRU. So we're discovering the routing as we go through as well. So we can see definitely a clear advantage for David, obviously, coming off that death, but not a ton behind for Moomoo at this point. Just finished off Treasure Knight himself, about to go into the dream sequence, and like Hobbs brought up earlier, a little faster just to take enough damage and die right there instead.
Yeah, and especially now, they have not gotten any health upgrades. They're still sitting at the base 4 health. No meal tickets used. But they also take double damage from this armor that they're now wearing. So it's unbelievable that they actually do stay at the minimum health for most of, if not all of this run. I know that can often vary between different runners. It is certainly faster in most situations to just keep your health at the minimum, but it is incredibly scary to do so. Now, as we enter our next Ring of Worlds, David is first going to enter the flying machine, and I believe this is exactly what Moomoo is going to do as well, because there is a very useful relic here, isn't there, Spike?
Yeah, I'm about to say, I believe it's just the flying dagger. I'm not the dagger of some sort, basically allowing them to have an air dash.
Yeah, it's propeller dagger.
Propeller dagger, there it is.
Yeah, that will give them the ability.
To that.
Basically, these dust knuckles are pretty good, but you need to have an enemy there for you to dash through, or some kind of block or something, and they go a short distance. Whereas if you use that propeller dagger that they're going to be picking up, you can use it whenever you want to dart across the screen, as long as you have the magic to do so. David getting through the first of many final bosses in this stage, the Jawas, as they are affectionately known by the community usually.
Yeah, for a lot of people casually, this is probably the hardest stage you're going to go through of the different nights. A lot of little mini bosses you got to go through, a lot of pits you can fall into, and some very annoying enemies in some auto-scrollery sections. Now going to go up a screen and then drop back down in order to have the momentum on that velocity to drop down here to go into this secret area where they'll spend 4,000 gold to get that propeller dagger.
Right. David picking it up first, holding on to that lead ever since MooMoo's unfortunate demise in back in the Treasure Knight stage. I don't know why that one I keep blanking on the name of. I got a lot of them in my head. Oh yeah, man, the mid-air menuing from David to equip that propeller dagger. That was incredible. And then gets a nice little kind of skyrocket dash before switching back to the Dust Knuckles. Now, I know that there are a lot of runners of both keyboard, mouse, and controller inputs in this game, and the advantage that you can get on the keyboard and mouse is the ability to select any weapon at whim. Not as big of a deal in the any% as it is in something like New Game Plus, but I know that Moo is a controller runner. I'm not familiar with David's input method, but he's doing a lot of quick switching, and it's making me curious now. But yeah, that you were kind of hinting at it there with your reaction before. A little bit of a scary situation with the Jawas, but he did get through it, sitting on a heart and a half now. Let's see how Moo does with the same room.
Oh, yeah, saving a bunch of time right there, and a bunch of heartache, more so.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger concern. It's just that it's far less scary for him. He's able to just easily breeze through that one. David now having to wait on these fan cycles as well. I believe that's another of the stage-specific global cycles. Oh, down to half a heart as David takes another piece of damage. He's going to have to wait on yet another cycle here. It's given some opportunities here for Moo if he can get lucky with some of these cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have a checkpoint coming up here pretty soon. Is this the up and... Yeah, okay.
Gonna skip it.
Yeah, electing to skip the checkpoint.
No, he's taking it. I think that is a very, very, good thing to do in this situation. It's a race. You haven't... you're sitting there at half a heart. You don't really have a chance to go heal or anything. Better to just take the extra cycle there, get the safety checkpoint. Moo's sitting at a little bit healthier. If he decides to, he could skip over that one, play it a little bit risky, and try to save a little bit more time.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to like to go for it. We see right there, barely fitting underneath those spikes right there. Had to potentially even just throw in the propeller dagger. But here we are now facing Propeller Knight, trying to get all of these hits in. And again, as you do them, you gain a little bit of iframes. The boxes basically lose their hurt
David,
bars.
not
and David,
okay, was able to finish him off. The double hit, that was actually fantastic. But there is also a factor of not wanting to over-damage the boss in this situation, which I think is also really interesting. I remember this being another very difficult boss to learn. Got to hop on up there and then spam that propeller dagger. Incredibly clean fight from Moo, as he's able to save quite a bit of time in that stage over David to try to make up for that deficit.
About to say, coming into that stage, it was probably a much closer to about a 30-second deficit right there. Now, all of a sudden, probably down to about 15 off of that. Really, really good stuff from Moo. And again, great stuff from David as we are going into our 7th night right here of our first campaign. God, it's already flying by. It's almost like we have speedrunners on. It's crazy. But here we are in Tinker Knight stage.
Yeah, and you can see this propeller dagger now in a slightly, I would say slightly less hazardous stage, or rather more just that it's a lot more horizontally oriented. You could see that it gets great usage all throughout it, and it's just going to keep happening. They only have so much magic to work with, but they are going to be able to pick some up along the way every now and then. And you can see David not taking any chances, just going to tap that checkpoint real quick with the tip of that knife and move on. A dagger's a knife, right? Close enough.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's what these are, these little flying daggers.
But here they are, making their way through. Again, guys, we are trying to unlock all 4 campaigns throughout the night. Because of your generosity early on, we've already unlocked. After this, they will go straight into the Plague Knight, Plague of Shadows campaign. And then after that, if we were able to get to $150 total, which again, half of that will also go into the prize pool for awesome runners, we will add Spectre Knight to the to our menu for the night. And then again, at 300, add King Knight after that. Dr. Stud Hungwell, thank you for having that name and for gifting a sub to Natsu. I appreciate that.
All right, in the meantime, David was able to pick up the next relic upgrade here. The I am blanking on the name, but the gear. I think that's the very fair way to call it. And this is incredibly useful for getting past these auto scrollers. Again, I love like Yacht Club Games design when it comes to auto scrollers in these games. They more often than not are skippable through, various means. And in this case, that's going to be riding along on a gear on spikes. And as you can see, it's useful for that purpose, but also there's another very important reason they're picking up this gear in the stage rather than, buying it later or something. Do you recall what that is, Spike?
Oh, well, the boss of this world, it's not going to last too long. At least one of the phases. I don't remember.
Yeah. The first phase. It is used in the second phase as well a lot of the time, but the first phase is definitely the main purpose here. I think it would be worth it for them even if they weren't using it for the auto scroller skip. I would guess just based on the first phase. Maybe I'm mistaken, but you can see I knew it. I knew Richard was gonna replay this.
Yeah, I was like, please God.
Richard's replaying the butt
wiggle,
wiggles.
Wiggle, yeah.
Gotta love it. One of the few auto scrollers now that they actually are going to be doing as an auto scroller. They're just trying to make sure they're as close to the top of the screen as possible when the screen is done scrolling, so that way they can just carry onwards. Now, the one shot on phase 1 of Tinker Knight here by using the gear here. And now on to phase 2, the big robot mech version. Now, this fight, honestly, that phase 1 fight sucks if you don't have that gear. It's really rough and low percent, so very cool that they get to just one-shot it. Now, they're going to be using a lot of Dust Knuckles to just deal quick hits to Tinker Knight's face up here, rather than just doing this slow pogoing technique, which I think most people are familiar with, remember from their casual playthrough, just trying to stay up there as long as they could. But the charge slashes, the gear, and the Dust Knuckles coming in to try to speed things up a little bit and move between phases. And Moo once again, a super clean fight to catch up just a little bit of time on David, who was no slouch himself, had an incredible fight, but just slightly slower there. So Moo's really trying to make up this gap.
Yeah, like we said, it is a 45-second advantage to Moo on the PBs. Would have the lead right now if it wasn't for the death back in Treasure Knight stage. But again, a lot of race still to go. But we are going into our final night of this first campaign, taking on Polar Knight.
Yes, Polar Knight. And this stage is full of deadly hazards. Lots of instant kill spikes and pits and ice that will just, make it hard to move around. But the propeller dagger is going to come in handy quite a bit once again. See David having to kind of modify how he was dealing with those blocks for just a moment so that he could make sure he could get into a pogoing position. Now, the other dangerous thing about this fight, about this stage, is that a lot of the checkpoints are just slightly too far out of the way to really make sense to go get. So I don't know if we're going to see, which ones these runners will go for, or if they're not going to bother with any amount of safety. At this point, Moo is about a screen and a half behind, I would say.
Yeah, just absolutely a man on a mission right now. Trying to keep this sucker close, going to our next campaign. And Plague Knight, to note afterwards, they are actually the closest in that one. They're like 17 seconds apart.
Yeah, they're incredibly close.
So if it's close going into that one, this one very much could come down to the wire. Or you guys could get Spectre Knight and King Knight in there. And then, it all kind of goes out the window.
All right, our second big option. Looks like Moo is going to be the one to go over and get some health and grab the checkpoint, whereas David decided to skip right on by it. His health was looking solid enough for him, and he didn't want to didn't think he needed to worry about it. Having to dodge all of these hammers, which we did very excellently. Moo going to be looking to do the same thing. Might have been a little bit more nervous about falling in a pit there or something. Of course, you always have the jitters on you a little bit whenever you take a death early on into a run.
Love the damage boost right there off the first one, then the pogo on the right side to boost you through the next screen transition.
Oh, man. It was so weird that they were on the same screen there for a second, which they are again now.
Yeah.
But I was very confused for one moment there. It was like, all right, David's on the later half of it. But, Moo is almost completely caught up. Some extra, Dust Knuckle usage here and there has really been saving him time. David's had a couple of propeller daggers that bonked into a wall. God! And then, because Moo didn't need to grab the health refill, and he just went in with 3, they're on the fight at the same time. Polar Knight's going to be taken out very quickly, just as we've seen with every other boss. But if you start pogoing on him too much, he's going to raise a shovel up in their head, so they're just going to stick with the regular swings and some Dust Knuckle usage. David has it by less than a second now. He has this by just a few hairs. Does he have this lead?
Gosh. Yeah, you saw right there. There was a lead change going into it, and then a lead change coming back out of it. Just Polar Knight's body hitting the ground just a little bit sooner than MooMoo's. This is unbelievable. God, we didn't have the other nights on. This would be the greatest 45-minute episode of SRU we've ever had.
But hopefully this isn't the end of it. Hopefully we get even more content from these two. I mean, we know for sure we're getting Plague of Shadows. Now, is David somehow going to be able to take damage faster or anything? You know, what's the difference going to be here? David gets a hop up and grabs Shield Knight at the top.
Massive time save over MooMoo, in all honesty. Holy shit.
That's pretty major. So MooMoo, you know, in the terms of this race anyways, MooMoo was not quite able to successfully grab Shield Knight up at the top. You can see here on the replay, just narrowly missing. Didn't get knocked up as he took the death. So he had to wait all the way for Shield Knight to float to the ground. David did not able to extend that lead from frames to, you know, like 2 seconds. A few. I think actually it was a few.
It's like a screen transition. I was like, that is a hilarious amount of time that David just saved on that right there.
Yeah.
Genuinely, if this was a Shovel Knight only race, you'd be like, oh my God, did that actually end the race right there? Right. That is how big of a deal that was. But, love the little gear jump right there and then jumping off at the last second to skip out on all that platforming. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, we saw David with the same thing. Slightly different setup, but got the job done. And now David into a big room of cycles. To a speedrunner, this effectively turns into a little bit of an auto-scroller room. But he can play it a little bit risky and try to, you know, kind of get through some of these without having to wait on nearly as many cycles as you might think. And that's going to result in some kind of scary situations where he might get crushed. But it looked pretty smooth for him. Let's see how MooMoo does here. Yeah, not really a major concern for him. There's going to be a few more of these kinds of screens later, though, where we could see some interesting action. All right, David continuing to hold on to that lead. I just love the constant swapping that they got to do between the Dust Knuckles to power through an enemy that would otherwise, you know, interrupt your Propeller Dagger, and then follow it right up with Propeller Dagger. You can only have, one weapon selected up at the top at a time. You don't, again, not at least if you're on a controller, you don't have different buttons bound for every single item. And even if you're on keyboard, I believe you have buttons bound to swap to that item. So you still have to make sure that you're swapping back and forth constantly. And it's a big thing to manage. Now, at this point in the stage, let's take stock of that health spike, because things are looking a little bit scary.
Yeah, definitely a little bit. I'm not sure if they're going to get, there's got to be a health refill coming up here. And density, scary enough to where it looks like David, I don't believe that was to health, just fell in a pit right there. So a massive, massive death right here. Big swing back to MooMoo all of a sudden.
Oh my God. Yeah, the lead changes just keep coming and they don't stop coming. So MooMoo going into what would normally be the third fight with Black Knight. In this case, it's going to be the second one. Going to go for a very similar stun lock technique, but now it is much more difficult. The timing is way more precise. If MooMoo is able to hold this through the entire fight, that'll be incredible. He's actually mixing in some charge slashes as well. This is beautiful. Oh my God. Some sexy gameplay right there. Let's see if David can match.
Yeah, also, after that death, might be feeling like he's got to nail this right now. But again, his stronger campaigns are further down the line. So if you want to give David almost a little bit better chance.
No, immediately a breakout from the boss, and now he's going to start darting around. Is David going to be able to move him back into the stun lock? He's going to interrupt him with the magic projectile getting reflected, and then starts it up again, but isn't quite able to hold on to it. Now he's got to deal with a flying Black Knight, and he's able to do very well with it, but he's out of magic, can't chase him down anymore, but is able to do it with a charge slash. So fantastic recovery from David, but unfortunate to be in the position of being behind and not quite able to match your opponent.
Now we are already into the penultimate stage of Shovel Knight's campaign right here. Beautiful underneath strat right there from MooMoo, taking out that enemy to make sure it's not going to hit him as he's going over that dangerous lava, and then some beautiful dust mittens right there. Some dust knuckles,
dude.
The mittens, dude. Yeah, the baby version of them. You got to upgrade them to the knuckles, you see. Just little baby mittens. And now we go into another, what should have been an auto-scroller right here.
Just call them like the Dust Idris Elbas or something. All right, but yeah, lots of propeller dagger usage. And one of the things they have been doing with those Dust Knuckles that we saw from Moo and we'll be seeing from David in a moment is using them to actually pull their vertical height. I didn't quite catch what happened on that left side of the screen there. Enlighten me, Spike.
Yeah, he took a damage boost off of some flame right there, and then the Jawa came over and said, "Not in my house. Get out of here."
Oh, no. The Jawa trying to even things out for this race. Moon is still holding on to a very slight lead, but it has definitely been curbed from what it was just a moment ago. Let's see if David has any problems with this Jawa. He's going to go over the top and just say no. Just pretty much ignore him, so that went really well for him, and that's what you love to see when you're rooting for the underdog in this one.
Into our final auto-scroller of the Shovel Knight campaign right here. I do believe if they reach the top of the screen fast enough, I think they can transition this a little faster.
This is mostly, yeah, they will be able to like get to the very top just a little bit sooner, but they're mostly probably going to do a lot of this off-screen, I would guess. David proving once again that it's not a low percent run by going and picking up that music note.
Thank God.
Yeah,
that just gives people anxiety if they're going to pick them up or not. Do want to give a shout outs to Saucy Fellow Music for the 19 months, McKay with the 1,500 bits, RJ3 with the 117 bits, and Dr. Stud Hungwell. Nice. Gifting a sub to Plastic Bag Tyler. Guys, we are within $12 dues of unlocking the next campaign of Spectre Knight, adding it to the fold tonight to have ourselves a sack of 3 campaigns, and then already start looking towards King Knight, which, you know, it's King Knight. Of course, he's a king. He's going to be the most expensive at the end. Let's get to that $300 goal and have a nice prize pool for both of our runners and get lots of good content. Remnant, thank you. Let's do Spectre Knight. Graham,
Awesome
let's start working towards King Knight.
I'm so excited to see Spectre Knight locked in as well. As we go into the boss rush here after that auto scroller, and we get a start of Polar Knight for actually both players here. Polar Knight is the only guarantee in this random order here. It's guaranteed to be shown up in the first 3 of the bosses, but not guaranteed to be first. Just happened to do so for both of them. Both of them wrapping them up pretty quickly, and it's Propeller Knight next for Moo. Lots of charge slashes coming in as he does the jump slashes for each dash. David dealing with Spectre now. Spectre's on the horizon, you know, just a couple runs away. Just got to deal with this one a little bit sooner than that, though.
Here we are, more stun locking him in the corner, just recoiling him back and forth into the wall and taking him out. Moo now taking on his third Knight. It's tied up 3-3 apiece right now.
No, I believe that was David's
both
second.
of our runners.
Was
that his?
Yeah, Spectre was David's second. Spectre is Moomoo's fourth.
Oh,
David
okay.
on to Plague Knight, going much smoother for him than it did for either of them in the Exploratorium stage. So great to see that. Of course, not those, you know, pits of weird terrain to deal with, but still. Mole Knight coming in for David, and Moo wraps up Spectre. David doing a pretty solid job here. Going to get some final slashes in. Boss got to spawn about 4 blocks there before he was done. Let's see how Moo does with his Plague Knight. Can he match what we saw from David, or perhaps even beat it? It's getting quite a bit of damage in so far.
Yeah, got him stuck down there in the beakers.
Oh, but he's running away from him. I'd say David takes the edge on that one, who's now fighting Tinker Knight. Took out the first phase pretty quickly. Going to be hopping up onto the second one. Took him a little bit to get up there. Unfortunately, had to wait on another cycle of the platforms.
Yeah, like a lot of the baking in of all the different items right there, maximizing the usage of that extra magic they've got right there, trying to get the refills after each of the fights. Now, Tinker Knight dead on the right side. Dead phase 1 on the left side now as well for Moo. Let's see if he can have a little bit easier time getting up there for an earlier cycle. Is able to get up there. Some Dust Knuckles, the Mittens, the whatever you called them earlier.
Idris Elbas, man.
The Idris Elbas, yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Sonic movie
The
too.
actor and Knuckles, yeah.
Yeah. In any case, David has wrapped up King Knight, moving on to Propeller Knight, and then that will be left for him is Treasure Knight. Moo fell down, had to climb back up here on the Tinker Knight, so it took him quite a bit longer, but David not able to finish off Propeller Knight, just like we saw in the stage, but this time it's going to be a little bit slower before he comes down. So Moo's able to start on to the King Knight before David gets to his final boss. Oh, now Moo gets stunned, though, is going to pick up some safety chicken, and then hopefully wrap up this boss soon. Half a heart, and there he goes.
Did we get a replay on the left side there for Moo? It was just like King Knight was all charged up, ready to go, and the absolute bitch slap on the come in. Look at him coming in here. All right, down one. I'm gonna get you. Bam! The big rejection. Moo
so over the
pulling off his best Shaquille O'Neal right there. The big rejection. Love it.
Over the course of that boss rush, Moo took the lead back. Like Moo came in. It was hard to remember that Moo came in second in that one, I'm pretty sure. And I think, right? David entered first.
No, I think he still had a small lead going into it. Yeah, they were kind of going back and forth in the fight.
Regardless, MooMoo holding on to the lead then. David was looking really solid in a few of those fights there for a bit, but unfortunately, King Knight and Propeller Knight just getting away from him a little bit. That was kind of the main opportunity he had to pull the lead in his favor. But both of them coming into a very close ending here as we have our final stage. Just a little bit of waiting, some small platforming sections here, and then we go into the Enchantress, a two-phase fight.
Yep, and it's a pretty, for me, I know in all four of my campaigns, the most frustrated I got every single time was
MooMoo!
MooMoo!
Bonking into the side of one of the blocks. They're going to fall in the pit.
Massive time loss.
Yeah, did not reach the checkpoint yet. So, yeah, that is pretty brutal for him. You can see there we caught just the tail end of that one. Had not reached it. There it is. David finally reaches himself. A situation that I would wager MooMoo is kind of shocked by. I think in general, runners do not get too concerned with that section, just as terrifying as it looks from the viewer perspective here. But a rogue bonk is all it takes, and David's going to be holding the lead here, but Enchantress is no easy mistress here. He's going to try to finish her off underneath the stage, and he is able to do so before falling down, which means he will not have to worry about dying, because this game is very kind and will not kill you if you finish off the boss first. Now he goes into the second phase, generally the slightly easier phase, or at least the less risky phase, but is he going to potentially die? I don't think you get a health refill, and he's sitting here at 1 heart. Maybe you do once you grab Shield Knight.
The gear to get a little closer. I love it. All right, MooMoo going through his phase 1 right here. Gonna get in that charge shot. Ooh, missed his second one right there. Is he gonna go down and try to go for the quick kill right now?
He's down to 1 heart, and he gets hit. So he's not even able to get. David does get the health refill and should have no problems with this second phase of Enchantress, at least not as concerned with dying, but does still want to try to do it as quickly as possible, so he's going to use the Propeller Dagger to catch up whenever the boss moves from side to side. Some Dust Knuckle usage is available to him if he needs it to kind of hover himself, but he's just going to stick with the Propeller Dagger and the good old shovel, and that's going to be the first campaign down for David. But there ain't no rest for the wicked, as he's going to be moving on very quickly to our Plague Knight campaign.
Yes, beautiful stuff right there from David, taking the lead in just an absolute amazing back and forth first Shovel Knight campaign race right there. Yeah, 1/3 done for him, and hopefully 1/4 of the way done for him right there. Jumping up,
grabbing Shield Knight. Yeah, we're getting pointed out by Engage. I was curious about this myself, that MooMoo, the first time on that Enchantress first phase, was not able to go for the under the stage kill because of his health situation. It's just had taken a little bit too much.
Love that you can catch both of these because the swing's so big on the charge.
He's waiting there for Shield Knight to give him a platform to ride on. And unfortunately, wasn't close enough to get those Dust Knuckles to hover into the air. So now he's going to have to wait on another, platform from Shield Knight. Looking like we're having a slight technical difficulty, some hiccups there on the internet most likely. But we can get right on in to our next campaign on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, focus here on Plague Knight, and now it's all about movement. We got a lot of the same level design, but the movement is absolutely fantastic. You get, I don't know, a double, a triple, like a quad jump or something you do right here. You can go into a mini double jump and then charge his little explosions that allow you to also just fling yourself with great energy across the screen.
Yeah, and I love this this campaign, because of the movement, and I think that they actually even had a lot of speedrunners, talk with them during a lot of the early feedback iterative process of the game, because I remember that being a big thing that Yacht Club Games actually talked about, which I think is just super cool. But yeah, like you said, exploding to kind of launch yourself forward, going with a double jump, and then you can explode again. And those are kind of refreshed as they get from screen to screen. You can charge that explosion through screen transitions. I think you get a second double jump once you hit the screen transition. So they could just really keep it going.
Yeah,
Now,
the fact that they get that refresh as they go through. Gonna go for a similar skip that we saw in the first campaign right there, charging up out of bounds, and we're now seeing Moomoo's back. He's in his red, and he is ready to rock it here in Plague Knight. Screw you, internet.
yeah, some slight problems there, obviously, but thankfully he's back and ready to go. Wrapped up the Enchantress. We'd already seen the second phase. He just didn't want to bore us. It's fine. So David going with a stun lock of his own on Black Knight there. Few bombs to wrap things up, but once again, it's very similar to what we saw in Shovel Knight. You just kind of, hit him with some good timing and keep him locked into that corner.
Yeah, you've also got the fact that when you throw your little your energy shots into the floor, you can also utilize that as a way to just keep yourself suspended in the air a little bit longer. So they might be utilizing that as some strats to potentially save themselves and just good movement throughout the run. Do want to give a big shouts to Matthew St. Louis for throwing down the 20 bomb of subs on top of a bunch of other generosity earlier from Zahariel, Chocolate Dave, Synagoth, Graham, Remnant, just so many people. Thank y'all so much. We are now a mere $80 away from locking up King Knight, and I loved King Knight. I want to see it. It's so good, and I'm sure David would like to see it as well. That is definitely his biggest advantage of the night in any of these four.
Yeah, but even in the one that we would have considered the weakest going into this, David ends up with the lead coming out of it. So he's got to be feeling pretty good right now, in a pretty good spot, especially if he's monitoring the state of the race. But in general, that shovel campaign went pretty well for him, despite just that one major setback. Now continue on through Pridemore Keep. We kind of glossed over it as well, but they were able to do the same screen wrap setup that we saw in the Shovel of Hope campaign, but with a completely different setup, doing it with Plague Knight and actually kind of launching into it much faster.
Yep. Here we are heading through King Knight stage. Pridemore, like you're saying right now. Moo, unfortunately, not welcomed here in the town. Has to go to his own little addendum of the Explodatorium right there. And again, it's just like the last campaign we saw as well. So there's going to be money. There's going to be health involved. And with that money, they are able to buy upgrades. But there's also these little, I forget what they're called, but the green coins right here that they can also utilize to get upgrades throughout the run.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact name of them either. But yeah, green coins is pretty accurate.
Yeah, they're green. They're coins. Everyone knows what I'm talking about in the chat. Yeah. I believe it's all working towards one upgrade they're looking for that has really, really high DPS. The Staff of Striking, I want to say, is what it's called.
Oh, man. Honestly, it's been a little while since I've seen a Plague Knight run, and I know that there were some routing changes that happened, along the way. That one of the cool things about the way that this game is balanced and designed is I think a lot of the different relics have gone through, like the routes have gone through various iterations where each relic suddenly is like the OP one for speedrunning in a lot of the different campaigns. So I think that's just really cool to see. David with a very fast kill here on King Knight. And honestly, I think you're going to see some similar bosses for a while in the way that they get taken out. Lots of kind of standing up near him and chucking bombs at him.
Right. I say you have a lemon limit of sorts, just like Mega Man. You can have 3 of them on screen at the same time before they have to land and go for more. Love the little throwing the bomb backwards, kind of pinning Moo up against the wall right there for good positioning on his next set of movement right there.
Yeah,
I also like very much Yacht Club Games wanted to go for some cool movement for speedrunners here in the next bit. Just going over the flames. Who needs books? Not Plague Knight.
Intentional damage boost 2 to fly directly through the next flame cycle. Love it. David on to the Lich Yard. And one of the things I love as well is how they have to throw the bombs to open their path a lot of the time, and how they're able to do that seamlessly with their movement, or at least it feels seamless most of the time. Some clever
Moo able to deposit his last couple of bombs right on King Knight in the corner right there. Try to remember the plot of this game. I think Plague Knight's like trying to like go through and beat all the knights because he wants their essence so he can like learn how to dance or something. Or
he wants to make a love potion. Or
yeah,
something like
that's
that.
right. That's right.
I believe, yeah. And yeah, so I just love, you can see on David's screen here in the Lich Yard, it's really exemplified how much they're able to use the unique ability, I would say, of Plague Knight to be able to gain height, at least over the last campaign we just saw. So they're able to just skip over lots of rooms that, you know, might have a puzzle to get around and get up to a higher platform by just doing an explosion, double jumping, and doing another explosion and getting enough height to either damage boost to where they want to go or just land on the platform directly. And then, of course, your larger horizontal rooms like this are all about how long you can stay in the air to maximize that distance, and then when you're going to drop to kind of refresh your double jump and start the chain all over again.
Yeah, Yacht Club Games very, very smart with how they designed these knights and their different movement engines. But here we are making our way through. We are on Spectre Knight, who you guys will be seeing right after this.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot for a second. I love that we're gonna get to see Spectre Knight.
David did have to chase down Spectre Knight for the last hit right there, but overall still really, really solid fight from David. It looks like, meanwhile, Moo. So Moo about half of a Lich Yard, I would say, behind David. Unfortunately, a couple of those deaths on the final stage. It was a very, very close race going into the last stage of Shovel Knight's campaign, but some pretty big ones right there. Absolutely can still go either runner's way.
Oh yeah, lots of chances for people to make mistakes, for people to save time, and just for runs to be done well or poorly. We'll see. Moo heading into the Spectre Knight fight. Let's see how this one goes for him. You're going to see he's already charging up that explosion because that does deal damage as well. It's not just the bombs that you have to throw. They can upgrade the, bombs and the explosion in addition to the use of relics. I don't recall how much is used in the current route for this, but wow, just lots of really good bomb usage at the end there. Not having to chase down Spectre at all. Just wrapping him up in the bottom left corner. So good, solid fight there for Moo.
Yeah, Dad bringing up, I was just about to make the exact same piece of commentary. I feel like Moo has overall been really, really solid tonight and even a little stronger than David in just boss quick kills. So many of his bosses have looked really, really strong throughout the night, like on another level. So if anything can pull him back, it will be those, and that has definitely allowed him to stay in this race up to this point.
David with
Plague Knight now into the Explodatorium.
David with a slightly scary situation back there as he got hit by a fairy while standing over, pits and like the cauldrons that have spikes on them and whatnot. So, is he able to save himself? He's not, but I think he just hit a checkpoint.
Yeah,
I think he just hit one. Yeah, thankfully that is on the much more minor side of deaths. He might need this. Yeah, he needs the money though. So a clever use of, kind of revealing the platforms, but then also getting ready to take a damage boost from the slime. It's going to slow him down quite a bit, but he was able to collect everything and stay alive. So he's able to move on and get to the next checkpoint before this mini boss.
So there's the first big opportunity for Moo to try to take advantage of right now here in the Explodatorium. What the Explodatorium seems like it's scary.
Oh my God! Please replay the left side there.
Oh my gosh,
that was terrifying. Moo got under the lid of one of the cauldrons there, and then had to get enough height. Here we go in this room. Gets shoved down and then saves it by jumping back up. One of the double-edged sword factors of the movement tech that is Plague Knight is that you are constantly just flying across in the air, and at any moment, if you get hit in the wrong spot, you might just fall directly into a pit beneath you. So it's super scary. As you can see, David also charging across a gap with reckless abandon, getting ready for this boss fight. Who's going to be here? Also, he revealed the meat and then didn't grab it.
Other Plague Knight? What is this? What? There's a room over there? I had no idea.
So I know that there is a factor here where they want to avoid Shovel using the relic that makes him invulnerable. So they actually, I think, have to sandbag their damage a tiny bit until he gets down into the section where they can stun lock him. He's doing a great job. It did look like Shovel healed in there, but I think that's a set heal. Oh, Moo does clear the gap. Okay, I got a little scared.
Dude, I just want everyone to know, if you think we're scared, Moo has just as big a freakouts. Like, we're doing replays of the gameplay. I just want a replay of Moo's face during these moments, my God.
Just Moo screaming.
Just, ah! You know he's screaming right now.
All right.
I'm not going to lie. I looked over at Moo's side, and I was about to say, oh, no, he's getting fucked by Plague Knight again.
No, he is not at all. And actually, I don't think I saw a heal from him. So I think that he might have had a faster fight because David had to deal with a heal with the Ecor chalice or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Chalice of Icor or whatever. I'm trying to remember all the names. It's been too long since I've played Shovel Knight. I'm due for a replay.
But here we are. David moving into his 4th night of his 2nd campaign.
Yeah.
That treasure night right here.
Just hopping through it. Now, the interesting thing here is that because of the way that the water mechanics work in this game, like you float to the ground more slowly than you would by just falling in air, they're not going to be able to refresh.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It is beautiful, but they're not going to be able to refresh their double jumps as much if they end up in kind of a taller room and they're flying across the top of the screen. So a lot of routing has to be carefully considered to make sure that they're able to land where they need to. David hovering over spikes for a moment there, but able to save himself with a bomb.
Now, one thing that's at least nice about this campaign is that it, unlike Shovel Knight, actually has built-in health upgrades that it forces you into. So a little less worrisome as far as health deaths, but obviously it's Shovel Knight. It's based on classic retro game. There's fucking pits everywhere.
Yeah. David is initiating the, kind of big fish boss. Why can't I remember the name of this fish for some reason?
Big Bertha, right?
Yeah, no, this is not Bertha actually, but also I meant the name of the actual species of fish.
Oh, is it an angler fish?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. I was blanking on it. Spike coming in with the marine biology knowledge.
I'm about to say, if there was, boy, if you ever thought I was not going to be on top of one thing, definitely the marine biology section of the night.
But yeah, so I was mentioning how they're not going to get nearly as many double jump refreshes, but the advantage of falling more slowly is that they're also going to be able to charge up a new explosion to, continue moving onwards without having to worry as much about falling into a hazard underneath them because they are going to fall a little bit more slowly.
Okay, nice explosion to recover right there from Moo. Unfortunately, dropped a right input right there. Was not able to get some of the bombs to go into the anglerfish, but was still able to work it out. Yo, beautiful damage boost right there from David to recoil directly into the pit with that dying enemy right there.
Yeah, really cool to see. And then, believe it or not, as fast as that rocket is, I think it's actually faster, for them to jump off of it at the end with Plague Knight. David's going to be heading on to our next boss. I don't know. Will he just chuck bombs at it? He's going to chuck bombs at it. But got to know exactly how these bosses are going to move. There's a lot more precision to this than just, spamming away, just mashing the button. Got to know how they're going to move and when they decide to use a specific pattern. Are they going to change where they're going to move? Are they going to stay in the same spot? That kind of thing. So great to see that David was able to wrap that one up very quickly. Let's see how Moo does. You can see even the mobs that looks like he's missing at times are just sitting on the ground waiting to be collected by the boss. Now, an unfortunate pattern for him means that the Treasure Knight gets to the top of the arena where he's less able to be hit. So going to be a little bit slower there for Moo, but in general, recovered quite nicely.
The first of this middle set of nights we saw in the Shovel Knight campaign, going to be the closing one of the second act for Plague Knight right here, taking on Mole Knight stage. And I'm just thinking about the beetle skips, and if they were skipping up a Shovel Knight, there's no way they're riding them here.
Yeah. I don't even think they have to ride the first half of them. Yeah, no, here we go. It's an even more impressive beetle skip. You can see they're having to time the explosions so that way they're also breaking the blocks that are in front of them while doing them. But, those explosions are the same way that they are propelling across the screen. They have to really be having that. They have to have that clearly planned out and thinking about exactly when they need to release those.
Moo unfortunately causing me to pull my best Scrooge McDuck and slipping right into the lava right there.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see when you're trying to catch up. And I'm sure Moo is feeling that, even if he's not monitoring the race right now with how the end of the last one went. Another thing to note, a small difference that probably won't come into play, but it may, is that there hasn't really been a routing difference so far in the way that they're doing these levels. But David does have one extra heart. And by that, I mean one, like, extra heart, like one in reserve. Over what Moo has. That's something that they're basically able to heal themselves with. It's effectively just a small little potion. They're able to heal themselves from the menu if they need it. Could be, you know, unintentional. Could be a little factor of safety. I don't quite recall if there's some randomness applied with those. But for what it's worth, it is, you know, a nice little cushion of safety for David.
And a little bit of factor. And again, like, the scary part about this early part of the run is, man, they actually have to carry this money a long way before they make their purchases for the Plague Knight campaign. Beautiful having Mole Knight up against the left wall, and he just ate every single bomb right there. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, you were a little concerned there, as was I, as Moo decided to, like, hit the green blob onto the lava to make it safe just as late as possible, just to scare us. I'm sure that's why. And then damage boosting through the enemy there before starting his second beetle skip. Now, thankfully, these have been going fine for both these runners. They're always impressive to watch and love to see it happen. Now, Moo unfortunately did not want to get all the way up top there, I don't think. Just wanted to hop on through. Now going to start his own Mole Knight fight as David has to head back to town for just a quick moment.
Yeah, again, forced after each of these, and David being given that 6th health on his max upgrades right there. The potions can also be used just to give you more max health. Don't expect to see them utilizing it throughout this run too much at all. But again, those are the options right there, those little potions. And now going into Propeller Knight stage. Again, we don't need to ride those platforms. We're just going to blast underneath them the whole way.
This one's especially scary because, like, there is no ground for most of this stage. And there are a lot of times where they're on screens where even if they fall, yeah, they might not die, but they're going to lose so much progress and have to climb their way back up. So it's always wild seeing that happen.
Beautiful tap left back there, strat from David to get a awesome damage boost. He moves so fast through each screen, but there's been so many good damage boosts in the Plague Knight campaign all over the place.
But for David's sake, once again, a very quick one. He had just activated that checkpoint. So David's getting a little lucky in the Plague Knight campaign here that his mistakes have been not very punishing overall.
I'm about to say, you're expecting in a marathon style run this long, like, yeah, you're going to have some deaths here and there, you know, in all 4 of the campaigns potentially. Again, they had to practice 4 different speed runs for this marathon run we were asking for them to do. Yeah, you're going to have some deaths, but my God, he's getting them in some good places. And now talking to our dude for the, again, I believe it's called the something of striking, the staff of striking.
Yeah, I don't remember personally, so I'll go with you on that one. Staff of Striking sounds good. Yeah. And yeah, you could see that cost him quite a bit of money there. I think it was like 10,000 or no 9,000, I believe it was. And it's funny that, like, one of the most useful relics that you get in Shovel of Hope is found in the same room as one of the most useful relics you get in Plague of Shadows. Very solid movement through the major Jawa room there for David. Did not have to worry about it giving him grief this time, like we saw in the Shovel of Hope campaign.
Yeah. 10,000 gold. I believe this sucker cost 9,000 gold right there, as we're seeing from Moo.
Yeah.
And again, they pick that up just because it has really, really good DPS. They can just stand inside instead of just having the bombs the whole time, which you can do that half heart of damage. They can just stand right inside them, use all of that mana that they've got on their power meter right there, and just slap some enemies silly.
Mm-hmm. We're going to see that come into effect immediately on the boss of this stage. David, yet another damage boost. Like you're saying, like it is so constant in Plague Knight's campaign here. how often you're just going to be flying across the screen and have to tap left. David taking a slight fall there, didn't quite beat the fan cycle, so it pushed him down, but that's okay. Something that he can just easily recover by moving back up. And he is going to get this checkpoint once again. Doesn't like the, potential chance of falling into some spikes. And hey, I get it. It's a very scary room for sure. As is this one, where they'll be trying to clear this whole area without stopping. And oh my god.
That's I remember doing that many times playing through this game, where like also throwing a bomb just gives you this little baby lift into the air, just getting you over the gap. That was amazing.
See Moo, no fear, not going with the checkpoint, just so narrowly avoiding those spikes. But David's here on the Propeller Knight. You can see him jumping up into place, trying to hit with some bombs and that staff of striking, and just rapid fire with the attacks to just deal massive damage all at once. And now, I thought for a moment that he was going to get knocked into that hole by the cannonball, but he was able to finish off the boss in time and not have to refight that entire thing. But MooMoo's made it onto the same fight at the same time. One man enters, another one leaves. And oh my god, such a quick kill there for MooMoo. Propeller Knight has David's number tonight, I'd say. Across
absolutely
the 3 fights we've seen so far.
Yeah, MooMoo able to make up time in 3 different major places right there, avoiding the death, however short it was, still making them back probably close to 10 seconds right there, followed up by skipping that checkpoint in the wind room and then having an even sexier fight there on Propeller Knight.
Well, that's the trick, is deaths in this game, it's not just about the ground you have to cover again. It's also not the fastest animation. You your character falls over a lot of the time. They got to spit out the money, and then they go, they show a black screen where to show you what checkpoint you're going to. So it is, all of that adds up. See David trying to go with the stun lock here on Black Knight 2. Doesn't quite get it perfectly locked into place, but was still able to never let the boss get too far away from him and have a pretty solid fight. See, he's breaking out for MooMoo as well now, who has to try to push him to the opposite side of the screen. Breaks out one final time, but will get wrapped up. I'd say that was pretty similar on both sides. David, perhaps an even slightly cleaner one on that one.
Now, the only other thing I could see them buying is to have a little more power for that staff of striking, so they might buy their 2 other power upgrades at some point, but we will see. They obviously do have the money for it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, looks like, MooMoo electing to get it right now, getting both of his power grades, so he can use a lot more of that staff of striking. So it's going to look like a little bit of a bigger deficit for or a little bit of a bigger lead, rather, for David over MooMoo. But we'll see. You figure at some point David's going to go pick that stuff up.
Yeah, I would think so. So it's probably, once again, just that kind of routing comfort level that we saw as a difference in the Shovel of Hope campaign. Or maybe David's just going to forego it and just deal with a bar that's half as large the entire time. We'll find out together, you and us, audience, as we continue on through this run. See David powering through Polar Knight stage here. The sunken ship. No, this is not the sunken ship. That was the other one. I finally remember Treasure Knight's stage name.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay.
I had to try to think about Polar Knight stage to remember the name of Treasure Knights. David with the damage boost back, and thankfully lands right on the platform. That was terrifying, but he made it work. And then going to be going around through this kind of, I'd say, like upwards facing S series of rooms once again.
Yeah, we're zigging, we're zagging all over the place here. Play Night now going through this, honestly, casually, pretty terrifying screen right here. Even the speedrunner looks pretty terrifying. Having to knock down that snow so they don't land on spikes, because 2D platformers and spikes generally lead to death.
Yeah,
now,
whether you're playing them or they're in the game.
Yep.
I had to. I'm sorry. It was right there.
Great. God damn it.
David on to Polar, going to start off with a bunch of bomb usage and then go into that staff of striking for quite a few hits and then wrap things up very quickly. Boss was able to move over to the left side of the screen, and that was about it. Did uncover some spikes, but he was able to stay in the air for pretty much the entire fight. definitely one of the fun things about Plague Knight is getting comfortable with that explosion, double jump, explosion combo, and seeing just how long you can hover yourself in the air by weaving bombs in between that. You could see it happening a lot in these fights. Moomoo staying up high, but does get knocked down by one of the snowballs. Heart and a half of health left for Moomoo, but he'll wrap up the boss with a quick little slap of the staff.
Yeah, very well done there for Moomoo. Trying to match it. David now making his purchase as well. Going to get the 2 extra. Yo, I almost wonder if he maybe like forgot to do it or if it's just a preference. You go back there either way. So might be just something where David doesn't really utilize that extra power in the Polar Night stage. But here we are, David, in the final of the night stages here in our second campaign of the night. Moomoo about to do the same. So probably somewhere in the ballpark of a 20 to 25 second lead still for David.
Yeah, he's definitely managed to build up a solid one here, but it is not an insurmountable one. Been seeing Moomoo try to claw back ever since the end of the Shovel of Hope campaign. Oh, gotta love just the verticality you can get there. Just hopping straight up with that combo. Like, we're so used to seeing that combo fly them horizontally across the screen. To see it occasionally just happen where you just stand still and do it straight up. I think that's always very fun as well. Some smooth checkpoint grabs along the way, and another auto-scroller that is not going to be completed, but this time it's actually scarier than it was before. Some damage boosts are at play here so that he can actually stand on the spikes long enough to recover his double jump and then start up a new chain. David performs that excellently and successfully crosses the massive pit of spikes. Let's see how Moomoo does on the left side.
Yeah, about to say that was beautiful to watch, and I would ask for a replay, but we're getting it from Moomoo himself right here. Going over, taking the damage boost. Ooh, extending that one a little further. Looked even scarier on Moomoo's side.
Yeah, didn't land one of the times that David did, and he's also not going to grab this checkpoint that I think we saw David get. So Moomoo really trying to make every second matter while he's coming from behind in this one.
Dropping down, David in the auto-scroller, Moomoo in the auto-scroller as well. Do want to remind you guys, this is episode 118. We're about to, shaking that little booty, booty, rocking everywhere. Thank you very much, Plague Knight. Again, this is Speedrunning Underground, episode 118. Every week here on the show, we like to feature different games, different speedruns, as long as we feel like they're going to be able to put on a good race. So we got 2 of the legends of Shovel Knight speedrunning all 4 of these campaigns right here in davidtki and MooMooAkai. If you guys want to contribute to that prize pool, throw down your subs, resubs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits, which again, reminder, it is September. You can add all of it for first-time subs and gift subs, 20% off of each of those. You can make the prize pool nice and big for our runners, and make sure we have to play all 4 of these campaigns. We're already nearing the end of the Plague Knight campaign, our second one. After this, we already have locked up Spectre Knight, but we need to get to $300 dues on the bottom right corner of that screen there in order to add King Knight, the King of Cards, which might not have that many cards in it, but don't worry.
And how long does a boss last against a potion master like Plague Knight? Apparently not as long as a plug for the incentive. It's incredible. Just goes down immediately as Moomoo is now onto the fight himself. Going to make quick work of it as well, and a very solid one from each of our players here. You could see the just immediate, few bomb uses into a ton of staff of striking hits. And then as their power recovers, they're able to deal enough hits with that staff to be able to finish off the boss.
So beautiful watching that quick kill up there top. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the staff of striking. So good, so good.
All right, leaving the town once again. David's going to be moving on to the final, ring, quote unquote, of worlds. We're so used to Kingdom Hearts. I'm just like, get the first ring of worlds, get the second ring of worlds.
That's basically what we're dealing with right here. Yep.
But David's going to be heading over to the tower. Continuing onwards. I guess go from one tower to another. Off from Clockwork. And then just, screens like that one. Why even put the book there? It's it's great. Just comes sailing across. You gotta love some of these enemies that are just like sitting there waiting to guard everything. All right, now's my chance. Where'd he go? It just comes flying across the screen.
It's definitely where you feel like, oh, okay, yeah, this is still Shovel Knight's kind of level design in a way. Afterwards, we're going to be seeing some different looking levels from our other knights right here.
David trying to make sure he can get through this hallway without getting crushed. That always scares me just a little bit, you know?
Yeah. No, Troy, thank you for the 6 months. Appreciate you.
Not the tightest of timing, but it is also, like, not the easiest by any means. Let's see how Moomoo does on the left. Is he going to get crushed, or is he going to make it through this skinny little hallway? Oh, just that last little explosion gets him just far enough. David holding on to that lead as we're heading in to the final stretches here.
This was the screen that caused David, I believe it was deathless until this screen in the Shovel Knight campaign. And then this one got him right at the end. It was actually a pretty punishing death. We'll see if he can right that wrong here in the Plague Knight. And yeah, he's just going to fly over the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty great. But Black Knight 3 did not go all that well for him last time either. And you can see Moomoo hot on his tail, just trying to get over to the same fight. Will David have a cleaner fight? Well, so far things are starting off with Black Knight just kind of sailing around. Now he's going to try to stun lock him with the bombs, get him into the corner. He pops the wings out, going to fly up into the air and try to chase him down with the Staff of Striking. 3 health left to go on the boss. A heart and a half is all it took after I said anything, and then a few more swipes will finish him off. Moomoo's starting things off with a little bit more luck, getting things locked down, but the boss is starting to break out. Already half of his health has been depleted, though. Some striking hits as he gets sailing into the air with those wings, and Moomoo definitely catching up time on the Black Knight fight once again.
We got a 119.39 fade out right here. Let's see what Moomoo's is coming right behind that. Do you want to give a shout out to Rizar for the gifted sub and Nama with the 5-pack of subs? We're blasting our way into outer space. Looks like about a 14-second lead for David right now going into the penultimate stage of the Plague Knight campaign.
Oh, man. we're going to end up with just a really close finish again. David having to take 2 jumps to get past that block. Every little bit matters at this point. But he is doing a pretty solid job of sailing through this room, using the Staff of Striking, not just for bosses, but also to clear out any enemies or blocks that could be just blocking him from his destination. A few blocks are going to fall to bombs as well, as they can't use that staff downwards. So, it's not a shovel.
Yep, believe it or not.
And then we saw this room cause some grief earlier, but not for, or it was for David, right? Yeah, we saw David fall in that one, but thankfully was able to.
That was actually Moomoo's death.
Was it Moomoo?
That
okay,
time.
yeah, it was Moomoo last time.
So we ended up having, this is not talking shit. They both still beat the game in 45 minutes, but we did see a fair amount of deaths, a lot of scary moments here in the Shovel Knight campaign. Plague Knight having a couple deaths itself, but David just 2 of the shortest deaths in Shovel Knight history. And Moomoo with 1 near the beginning of Treasure Knight. Other than that, you definitely got to feel like Moomoo has just been making up time throughout this campaign, actually. Yeah,
definitely, some fights have been cleaner for him, but there have been some that have swung in David's favor as well. But overall, Moomoo has managed to reduce the lead that David had built up over the end of the Shovel of Hope campaign down to a narrow 14 seconds, as you mentioned, before we entered this stage.
I do also want to take a second to just recognize this during this auto-scroller, that this is a very impressive thing both of them are doing tonight. All 4 of these control so wildly differently.
Very, very differently, yeah.
And they're doing all of them back-to-back like they are seasoned runners of all 4 of them showing off here. Super, super cool stuff.
Yeah, and it's because they are. Make sure you follow these 2 on Twitch, MooMooAkai and davidtki. Their names in the top left and right corners of the screen, because they, do Shovel Knight stuff all the time. Just 2 fantastic speedrunners. David heading into his boss rush. He gets presented with Propeller Knight first. And he's going to try to have a better fight than he did last time. The boss escapes him, but just for a moment. Much cleaner fight for David, not having to concern himself with any kind of cannons or anything like that. Moomoo gets Polar Knight first as David starts it himself.
Yeah, Polar Knights on both sides. Moo able to take him out first. So about a boss and a third's advantage for David at this point. Moo now moving into his second boss. He's got Treasure Knight right here. Throwing in so much Staff of Striking. Already down 3 full health, 4 full health, a half right there. We got 4 more. Can we count all the way down? 3, 2, 1, 0.
We weren't able to really talk about it much in the Shovel of Hope campaign, but across both of these two, this boss rush is resource management central. When are they going to take their damage boosts to chase down bosses a little bit easier? When are they going to use their power gauge versus going for a refill? They have to keep all of that in mind, knowing when the health refills are coming as well. Thankfully for Plague Knight, the power gauge refills slowly over time, and they can usually get it back before the start of the next fight, but not always. They do still have to keep that in mind.
This is about to technically be a lead for Moo in terms of number of knights taken down. They do have to end on Shovel Knight right here. That's the one consistent.
We're getting a very important production note from our restreamer Richard today, which is saying that we need chat to go ahead and flip the hundreds and the tens digits of our current our current prize pool.
Oh my God, please.
Our current incentive total. So yeah, that would give us a very excellent number. But no, David into Treasure Knight, and down he goes. Moomoo on to Mole Knight himself. David with 3 knights to go. Moomoo with 3 knights to go. What happened here? We see a big catch up. It's so hard to tell as things are going on at the same time. Oh, okay. Tinker Knight is still left on Moomoo's side.
He's got basically 2 bosses in Tinker Knight right here, whereas David's just got to take out King Knight next. So we'll have an update on the lead going into the Shovel Knight fight itself. David's sitting here at only 3 health to note.
Yeah, well, that's intentional. So this is something that I was trying to think about during Explodatorium, but I forgot exactly the mechanics of. But thank you. We got Troy of Athens helping us out in the chat. They are trying to avoid the usage of the locket here from Shovel Knight by staying at low health. If you were at low health at the beginning, then he will not use that invulnerability relic. So then an intentional pogo damage boost in order to try to lock him into this corner. Oh, he breaks out for a moment for Moomoo. David is able to wrap him up. You get scared when you see the money fly out of him, but no, that actually does mean that David was successful here. And then Moomoo, he is having to chase him down, and he's about to grab this health. He's concerned. He's got 1 heart remaining. He's trying to avoid grabbing it for now, but no, he's going to pick it up now. He didn't want it to disappear and be, had the choice made for him. And thankfully, it did not matter. Did not see the relic. He was able to finish off Shovel, but that was definitely, I'd say, one of the least clean fights we've seen from Moomoo in this campaign, if not tonight in general.
Yeah, that definitely got very, very scary. It looked like he made up a lot of time during that boss rush and then basically gave it all back right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate for the people rooting for Moomoo, but if you're rooting for David in this one, he powered through a fantastic boss rush. And now heading into our Enchantress fights once again, needs to kind of just clear out all these blocks, take as little damage as possible. You do end up with a few health upgrades naturally throughout this run. You can see that he's currently sitting on 6 health out of 7 maximum. They actually started things off with far less than that. I believe they start with the normal 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hopefully, David doesn't find a pit as he's launching himself across. No, it looks like he's going to be solid.
Could you imagine if you could outrun the ground right there?
Right.
Just like,
be terrifying.
Too fast! Here we are, Moomoo going into the block section as well.
David heading into Enchantress phase 1 here. Starts off with some bombs and explosions, then a quick set of the staff usage there, and now into the dives Enchantress goes. He's trying to break free a portion so that he can wrap up the boss. He's going to do it with the Staff of Striking just to terrify everybody as he falls down to what would ultimately be his death if the boss did not find it first. So now Moomoo into the fight right as David finishes. Going to go with a very similar opening here. Has to leave enough power, though, to wrap up the boss with the Staff of Striking. Yeah, and damage boost down into some staff usage. God, it's terrifying every time, but he does get the quick kill to match his opponent.
Now, moving into the final boss the penultimate final boss right here. Little shouts to Zelda 2 right here. Got to take on the Shadow version. the Dark Plague version.
Yeah, and as annoying as Plague Knight is to deal with in the Shovel Knight campaign, very annoying to deal with here as Plague Knight as well. He's just going to keep hopping around. But Dave was able to make quick work of him. Did get a little bit of hopping around, but, you know, that's pretty much to be expected. Now,
I know there's an Easter egg where if you just, like, chill for a while, he just goes away. He stops fighting you. A little bit faster to go ahead and deplete his health, though, it looks like. Moomoo
got kind of trapped in a corner himself there for a moment, but now he's got some good positioning. Fortunately, the boss does teleport away from him on half a heart, because isn't that just always the way? And David is on to our very final boss here of the Plague of Shadows campaign. Has to break open the core every now and then, but why even talk about the mechanics of it when the boss is gone in the blink of an eye? And David will be moving on to the Spectre of Torment campaign. Still holding an advantage, and I'd say a similar one, probably slightly less sizable than what we saw coming out of Shovel of Hope, assuming things don't go too wrong for Moomoo here.
And he definitely likes to see that with the only campaign that's locked up right now that we're going to be doing is Spectre Knight. And this is the biggest advantage for either runner. Moomoo with a full 1 minute PB advantage in the Spectre Knight campaign over David right here.
Oh, man. Okay, David's starting things off. Moomoo having to just kind of skip through the credits or the cutscenes as much as he can before he can move on to his next playthrough. Spectre of Torment. Now, this is one that going into, I would have said, okay, well, if there's one game I'd pick to be a real strong one for Moomoo, it would be Spectre Knight. He's probably grinded this campaign more than any other. Mr. Spooky, as he tries to to hold the title of by holding the records of the different things. I don't remember what the current situation is, because David is no slouch when it comes to this one either. I'm going to actually look this up at the moment.
Oh, there are PBs, like where they stand at?
For Spectre, yeah.
Yeah, David is actually, to note, 3rd place in this category. But again, it is that full, not exactly, 55-second disadvantage to Moomoo in 2nd place, only passed by Patois.
Yeah.
By a mere 8 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really close. But to see... I think like practically all of their times are within a minute on all these various campaigns. I think King Knight might be slightly more. It's incredible to see. And like we said, we could not have asked for a better, like a closer 2 people to pick to show off this entire treasure trove of games.
And as you can see, just a little mechanics here with Spectre Knight. He's got a bit of a wall running ability. Can't run on a lot of different surfaces, like the more mossy areas you're seeing right there, but can run up the walls instead. Nice slashing the floor through the wall right there on Moomoo's side. We're seeing pretty cool stuff. He also breaks stuff with just his feet. His feet are very deadly, apparently, and can also dash through stuff at diagonals that they're introducing to you very early. I remember as soon as I saw the demo for this one, I was like, oh, I want to play this campaign. This one looks really cool.
You can see, and the levels from the Shovel of Hope campaign are basically gone here. Like the base themes of the levels are not, but the structure of them is very different, both for Spectre Knight and the King Knight campaigns. Quick reminder, everybody, we're at 241.69 on the total that you see in the bottom right corner of the screen. And if that gets up to 300 through the help of your subs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, resubs, and bits, then we can see that King Knight campaign after they wrap up Shovel of Torment here. And as Spike mentioned at the top of the show, every one of these campaigns gets faster than the previous. So don't dilly-dally if you're considering getting in on this.
Yeah, this one down again, 30 minutes, probably by about the 40-minute mark. Both these runners will have this one wrapped up. Well, 40 minutes from whenever they started this. So probably you got about 37 minutes, chat, to get those last. Again, like just flip the numbers around. Just 4, a 2, and then like a 0, 6, 9 at the end. Like y'all know what to do. I believe in y'all. But here we are back. Again, this is a prequel. So throughout this, Spectre Knight is assembling the team of knights for the Enchantress. Not gonna be warping. One thing that's really cool that instantly sets this one apart from the last 2 nights is that you can actually go to all these stages in any order you want to this point.
Yeah, and we'll
So
see.
it
If we
allows
see
for a
some
lot of
routing.
openness and routing. Yep.
We might see some routing differences. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out pretty quickly. If I recall correctly, I think it's like the amount of money changes. It's either based on the order it changes, or like various stages are kind of, they have their difficulty suggested by the amount of money in them. So that may factor into their choices. Looks like we are going to get the flying machine first for both of our runners here. Interesting how important this stage has kind of like been for all three of these campaigns so far.
Yeah, I think once again, this has the upgrade that they need. It's either you get the upgrade in here, or it gives you access to the upgrade. Because again, you're also seeing the unique collectible of this stage, of this campaign. Those skulls in the top left corner of the UI. They can also utilize that to buy their different various upgrades.
Yeah, and there are a lot of really, like, there's a lot of really powerful relics, or curios, I think they're called, in the Spectre Torment campaign. We're not going to see all of them by any means today because this is an any % run, but I highly recommend go check out a New Game Plus run of this campaign
shit.
at some point. Like, it is unbelievably cool, in my opinion. Also, because your darkness, which is your magic or your power resource of this campaign, is combined with your will, your health. Those two things are combined into one resource in New Game Plus. So check it out sometime. I think it's an unbelievably cool category to watch. And you could see just how many different curios get used throughout
At the
every
same
boss fight.
damn time.
Yeah.
I definitely, Moo did a run of New Game Plus at GDQ like last year at some point, one in the online era, and holy buckets. It is, if you're like, I don't like New Game Plus runs, they're just like too powerful. No, this is a New Game Plus category that is super cool in a speed run.
Well, and all the, like, every time you're spamming a bunch of usage on bosses, you're also lowering your health. So it's a big risk reward factor. It's really cool. Some good hops from David there to kind of accelerate him off to the right, so that he would hopefully not have to wait on as many of the enemies to spawn there. And then continuing to just try to bypass these Jawas. You know what? Just gonna take out every single one of them this time.
Yeah. Some more opportunities for Moo to make up the deficit right here. And again, this is his bread and butter category. David, no slouch, though. Top 3 in the world at Spectre Night, any %.
I mean, at every Spectre game, probably.
Yeah, I'm about to say, probably. Necrofit's coming in with the 5-pack of subs after RJ3 threw down the 420 bits. We are officially $41.61 away, chat. Keep them coming in. We want to see the King of Cards campaign coming in right after this. And now, a different dynamic to this boss altogether. You're going to be seeing this with all of the knights throughout Spectre Knight's campaign. Big old remix. Doesn't matter. They're killing them anyways.
Yeah, David seemed like he had a really clean fight that time. Much better than, some of the ones that we saw from him in the other campaigns. Got to be getting, feeling some good confidence after that last boss rush as well, where he had a really solid fight. Moo, let's see how he does on this one. Gets about 4.5 bars of damage in. Bars. Gets 4.5 little, circles. Of
heart circle things.
Yeah. Too used to Kingdom Hearts now, man. And now we are getting the kind of big thing that they wanted to get as quickly as possible in this run. I think it's called like Judgment Rush. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah, that sounds right. But it's something where, you can rush to things even through walls and whatnot. And with the cash, they also are able to buy this different piece of armor, which gives them the ability to become Tony Hawk and start rail grinding on literally everything.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So this combination is going to be a very common use. Like, this is going to be used all over the rest of this run. The Curio is the Judgment Rush. That's what's going to be using the darkness resource at the top of the screen. Whereas the skateboarding that we're seeing going on, or the skating around all over the place, is, I think, basically just hitting down on the D-pad.
Yeah, as you're falling to the ground. Yeah, it's that simple.
So they're just going to be skating through as many skating along as much as possible and using that Judgment Rush whenever they can use it to bypass walls, especially picking up darkness along the way. Oh, and hopefully not hitting spikes. But for David,
and he just Moo takes the lead, just broke that checkpoint.
Oh, wow. And thankfully for David, at least, like, it was after the big money purchase and didn't have to stress about that. But yeah, big lead change happening already here. Did not think it would be happening this quickly into Spectre of Torment, but a death is definitely going to cost you some time.
Yeah, there was. So obviously there is at least a little bit of purchase left on David's side.
Yeah,
might be something where he goes for something that Moo does not pick up. It does. At least Moo didn't pick up that cash. At least
they've got similar amounts of money right now, though. That's the thing. Is David was behind. So, like David is actually has less than Moo. So yeah, there's probably some amount of purchasing that's still going to be happening as they continue to kind of sail on through this stage. Explodatorium causing grief once again for David this time.
How is this always the worst stage? My God.
As you might have guessed, the rushing water in this stage does cause the floor to kind of move in that direction. Cause you to move in that direction when you're on the floor, I should specify. And of course, these flame cycles being part of the major global cycles of this stage.
I love the rail mail so much in this. Like, this run is one of those, like, oh, this is kind of cool. Yeah, they can, like, dash off shit. They can do a little wall run. But he's just kind of walking, right? And then this shit hits with the judgment. And you're just like, oh, this is one of those speed runs. Oh, my God. This is cool.
Yeah. Moo just slickly able to hold on to that rail. Or the rail mail, whatever you called it a second ago. Able to just kind of use that throughout 3 screens in a row is really great. And now, thankfully, Plague Knight gonna cooperate a little bit better this time.
That's been the best Plague Knight fight of the night.
Yeah, he's jumping around a lot more for David, not quite standing in one place. And with the potions brewing now too, and him splitting into multiple pieces. Yeah, David's is not getting. He's not getting quite as lucky as we just saw from Moo.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, the dynamic of these sets. Again, we'll see what they pick up later on, if any of it really assists with the combat. But yeah, for both owners, both those things they picked up really, really good for moving through the stages very quickly. Not so much as combat tools right now. Although you can see a little bit of rail grinding in order to just close gaps with bosses and whatnot. And now we are here in our first flashback sequence right here. Get to know a little bit about Spectre Knight before he got all gangly and bony.
The main idea with this, other than just obviously trying to move through the screen as quickly as possible, is that your little partner there, whose name I cannot recall at the moment, will help you as, be one of those devices for you to gain height with a lot of the time. And he moves a little bit randomly at times, so they are going to do certain movements here and there occasionally in these sequences to try to manipulate him to move a little bit more quickly. That will, come up every now and then. I don't know the particulars. I just remember runners constantly complaining about how he decided to move in one scenario versus another.
It does look like, they actually do get another curio right there. The only thing that's unfortunate about the curios, like if there's like one sad thing about the speed run for this game, is that you have to go through these little tutorial sections. So it does kind of eat away a lot of the time you would get back. If you got them all instantly, I think they would get even more of them. They're all so good.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really useful ones. Luan is the name of your old partner there, so thank you, chat, for helping me out. But no, we're back to Dead Spectre.
Yeah, he's dead as hell. It's metal.
Back to that now as we head back to our normally, what was this normally like the 3rd stage? And I think it is again here. So Mole Knight stage, or is this? No, this is in the 2nd ring. It's hard to remember what the other campaigns are like. They've just been flying by so quickly. It's they even happen. We get more beetle skips, as you might have guessed here. If you can do it with Shovel, you can pretty much do it with every other one of them.
Ooh, the secret little backdoor entrance right there to get past that enemy. Super cool.
God, this is what I wanted out of tonight, was just getting to watch these runs again. Like these.
Yeah.
These are just so fun. I hadn't watched one in a while, and I'm just loving it.
Yeah, if I were to ever learn any of these, it would definitely be Spectre and King. I think they're both super, super cool. There's so much good energy behind all of the different movements. The Judgment curio right there, where there's like Judgment Rush, where there's just that little bit of wind up to see all shit's about to go down, and then the flying across the screen. It's beautiful.
Moo having to wait a moment there so that he could actually knock the little green blob over to the side. And then actually using Judgment Rush with no target selected, like no target available to him, just to kind of reset his wall run so he could actually climb without having to hop between the two sides. Love that little detail. Let's see David do it on the right side as well. Yeah, and he just cleanly gets over the top of the wall.
Whoop! Taking out, good Judgment Rush on the side for Moo. Now with those beautiful diagonals from David into his own Judgment Rush.
I'm going to need a replay on MooMoo's side because he just saved himself from a very fiery death. That was terrifying. Look, he slaps the green thing over, but then had the Judgment Rush a millimeter above the green floor before dying. So that the actual, or it was a millimeter before it turned green, so that it could actually turn green and keep him safe. But all of that slowdown has allowed David to catch up. They're in the boss fight at the same time here. Moo just about 1 heart of damage ahead, but not when the boss hides from him. David's able to wrap him up first and take the lead.
We got some insider information right here. I do remember that what Moo was actually going for was a clip back there. If you land on the lava at a frame, I'm not going to say the same frame. I don't fucking know. I don't run this game. At the same time that the green blob does, you actually just clip through the floor and go to the end. So Moo actually, yes, he didn't take a death or anything, but David able to make up a lot of time right there, actually. And now right here, Moo going up, going to be throwing a lot of cash and going to be upgrading that curio they got right there for combat, making it an extra level stronger.
Wow, that's incredible. I was impressed just when I thought it was an amazing save, and now I'm even more impressed when it's a like glitch that lets you clip through the floor. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, now we're immediately getting to see that curio in its plussed form. All of them can be upgraded one time. Get to go around. Not sure if it does. The runners in the chat can maybe answer our questions right here for this. I don't know if just more can be on screen at once. If they do higher, if they have higher damage output. If they stay on screen longer. But yeah, about to say the upgraded version looking like it is a good tool for ranged combat right there.
Yeah, the little like basketballs that are just kind of bouncing around. That's what I always thought of them as.
Little Windows screensavers. Oh, God. Some of the Judgment Rushes are so fucking good.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, and the thing is that, so Judgment Rush, you don't get to like select the target for in a way.
Yeah.
It picks a specific, if there's only one enemy on screen, it'll pick that one. But otherwise, it picks based on its own kind of internal workings. So the runners have such a deep understanding of how it works that they know how they need to move in a specific room to target the correct enemy, and not just any enemy, just the one that's going to get them exactly where they want to go.
This is such a good fucking speed run, dude. I'm just watching it a lot of the time. Like,
I didn't quite catch what happened, but David has lost the lead at this point. That lead that he had built up.
No, I think Moo still had the lead going into the stage.
Okay.
Like, he saved a lot of the time because of the clip in the last stage.
David definitely finished the Mole Knight boss first. So
oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't quite catch what happened to flip things back towards MooMoo's side. So that was my bad. Maybe it was maybe he didn't purchase or something, but
yeah, it might have been a purchase thing right here. Yeah, that we're seeing that David did a little bit more shopping. Yeah, not sure. I'm trying to see what he would have got.
It might have just been less money. Like, it might have just been the mini boss fight. Like, because that is not, a free fight by any means. We were so busy talking about the basketballs and stuff, we didn't quite catch it. Sorry for that one, chat. But regardless, it is very close right now. David trying to wrap up the anglerfish. He does finally do so. was being a little bit stubborn there. Some of the basketballs not wanting to quite connect.
I'm just gonna call them basketballs.
I don't know what they're called, so I'm just like, yeah. And it's not for Bertha.
Now, this is actually Bertha.
I mean, we're just knocking Bertha away as he's waiting for the anchor. See how David does in this room, too. Bertha moves, I think, a little bit randomly, but the most part is pretty consistent. But they are kind of trying to make sure, that they keep her in the right spot. And David, not able to stall himself with the help of Bertha there, fell down into the depths of the ocean and had to respawn. So just as he was catching up and just as he was, making a big lead change and whatnot, unfortunately, he gets sent back several steps. But he doesn't necessarily need to be ahead because we have locked up the King Knight campaign, thanks in part to some big gift subs. We got only Spaghetti Code helping out. Zeldin gifted 10 gift subs earlier as well. Hobo Hunter with the resub. Storm Dragon with some bits. And with all of your help, we've locked up that King Knight campaign. And that's one that David's definitely looking forward to be in his favor. So he just needs to kind of keep on pace on this one, on paper at least. Doesn't necessarily need to pull lead. Of course, that would give him a really just good boost of confidence going into the last one. You never know what can happen in a live race scenario.
Yeah. And I do want to know, everyone, that if we're able to get to the 42069 number of some sort, then I promise all 4 of these campaigns in one day playthrough again as fast as I can. Let's make it happen, Chad. I want to see a nice big prize pool for these runners.
Oh, man. You want to make it a race?
But I'll say you want to do a race. I'll only go off of what I have watched today for any of my speedrun knowledge. Bonus incentive, Chad. You want to see it. Let's do it.
I like how you're just like, all right, I'm going to start getting on top of these incentives and cranking them out. Let's add another one.
Let's do it. Just a one-day pop-in incentive for 2069. That's what y'all want to see, Chad. And here we are back in our hometown.
Yeah, the Lich Yard.
Yeah, Spectre for once getting to play the home game.
Yeah, but I don't believe that he's going to be running into himself at the end of this stage. Going to be a different boss awaiting him. Some of the rooms are, of course, like reminiscent of the other campaigns, which I think is always cool. But they are designed very differently for the use of the new mechanics here.
Oh, downright upright, downright upright, downright upright. So fun to watch. And now Spectre's going to face this guy?
I don't remember exactly what his name is. It's like
Lightning Dude.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Pikachu.
like Storm Knight or something. I think he has like a name. But regardless, it doesn't really matter what his name is when he melts so fast. Although he is going to go into one teleportation.
Yeah.
There we go. Just so much of, especially in the way that this arena is designed, where you can see there's a lot of kind of a corner here in the bottom right that turns into a small room almost, that the basketballs can bounce around all over the walls and the little makeshift ceiling there. So they could just keep constantly hitting the boss. Phantom Striker, thank you. I could not remember the name. Thank you, Engage, helping me out there.
And that is I would name myself that in NBA Jam. So the basketball references just keep on coming through. Moomoo into our second flashback right here. And I believe this is the one where we're going to be seeing a certain boss fight coming up. I could be lying about that. That could be a get up to the boss fight. We will see if I'm lying.
Yeah, I think I am lying. It's this one yet. I think it's the third one. But yeah, lots of just using Luon here to try to gain some height and get through these screens as quickly as possible. You still have, the base Spectre mechanics, but now that we've seen the rail mail, like this part feels so much slower. David wraps up his Phantom Striker boss fight, still trying to do his best to close the gap between him and Moomoo now.
At this point, the single biggest advantage of any of the campaigns throughout the night was King Knight, actually, and that is in David's favor. Only 7 seconds behind Magic Madman for the world record in King Knight, in Shovel Knight King of Cards campaign. I wasn't lying. There is a boss fight with Shield Knight right here. Take it, Captain America.
Dude, I totally thought that was in another one. I thought there was another flashback, but yeah, no.
In all honesty, I thought so as well.
I thought rule of threes, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, the classic.
There is another flashback, but it isn't actually like a level. It's just a flashback. But yeah, Moo coming in almost a full 2 minutes behind David in that regard. So Moo probably sitting there like, man, it's been a rough night for some of these levels, but I want to build up a little bit of a lead so I can withstand David potentially bringing in that King of Cards prowess. Very, very exciting race so far as we head into some more judgment rushing from Moo. And this is what this was like one of my favorite remixes as well they did.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one. I like the one in Spectre Knight stage that we just got out of as well.
Yep, yeah, that one's really good.
David trying to wrap up his Shield Knight fight. Does so pretty quickly. Shield Knight not getting too far away from him or anything. There is definitely some randomness that can happen in this one. They throw out a lot of caltrops to try to catch Shield Knight on the ground as well. So whether she decides to run across those or jump can kind of determine how much damage you're outputting. When we're running himself out of darkness, and darkness does not auto-regenerate like the power did in the last campaign. You actually have to pick it up, but you do get it a lot when you defeat enemies as well. So you're going to see them kind of defeat enemies in sections like this one where Moom is just waiting on the screen to keep scrolling, because he can keep farming darkness while he's doing this. So he can use more judgment rushes along the way. Of course, you do get some refills from other things like checkpoints and, you know, just refills that are scattered around the world.
Yeah, here in, again, gotta have the auto scroll, the classic auto scrollers in Tinker Knight. Just big chilling, giving David a chance to catch up a little bit. Yep. Ooh. I know that's like kind of the intended bonk strat right there, but it looks terrifying every time.
Okay, more judgment rushes to get across for David. Can he get into the same screen? I don't think he's going to be able to.
Yeah, looks like
not quite.
finishing it off as David's hitting it, basically.
Oh, very close, though.
So full auto scroller behind, still absolutely in striking distance.
Just getting through that, barely widening it up enough for him to be able to navigate through the little pillar there, the outstretched pillar. That was scary every time because you can kind of push it out a lot further, but he just doesn't bother. Just gets just open as far as he needs. I just have flashbacks of like Sonic Crush deaths anytime I see them go through.
Is there a butt wiggle in all of these? I hope there's a butt wiggle in King Knight. But no, you were saying Sonic Crush deaths. Yeah.
Yeah, I just every time that they run into a close scenario, it just scares the crap out of me.
Yacht Club games, everyone compares it to Mega Man, but like the more like retro and NES games you play, you realize like, oh, they have inspirations from DuckTales, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, Zelda 2, just like all over the place. Mega Man, obviously. I'm glad one of their inspirations was not shitty crush deaths from Sonic the Hedgehog, although you can get crushed.
I mean, yeah, you can get crushed for instant death, but they are definitely much more normal than they're much more reasonable than they would be in Sonic the Hedgehog. I do still consider this the best Mega Man game, though.
It's very, very good.
Shovel Knight in general. All right, Moo gonna take out Tinker without the use of the gear, and you can see he actually has some spunk to him this time, but gonna still make very quick work with the use of the power of basketball.
The basketball, yeah.
And then actually now the boss is separate. Tinker Knight is separate from his mech here. A little invulnerable at the beginning, so he just kind of hits him to stay up near him and then doesn't use the darkness until that health bar is actually vulnerable, and Moo somehow is alive. What in the world?
He's alive again. He's still alive. Oh my god.
How? Half of the heart left. I don't know how Moo did not die when he fell in this pit. He barely caught onto the wall. 2 times! 2 times!
That was one of the greatest saves
my
in
God.
SRU history, and we've been doing this 118 times.
Chat, you gotta help us out. We need y'all to clip that and then share it on every goddamn Discord channel and social media platform. Because what in the fucking world was that? That was. Oh, that was a girl. I know Moo was screaming in his room when he was doing that.
He woke up all of New York right there. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's a little bit of time, I will say, though, that David can now make up.
That was a good chunk of time. Like, David can totally catch up a lot of time here with a good, clean fight. Gets sent up in the air with that last kind of strike there, so he decided to wait for the boss to move off to the left. Some good awareness.
Yeah.
And able to definitely have a way faster fight there. Good. We got confirmation in Western New York that they heard the Moo scream.
We heard it. Now going into one of our last nights at this point, King Night for Special Night to have to take care of. Again, a preview because we got it coming up. David liking a little bit closer on that striking distance now.
Yeah, definitely after that boss fight. Moo just making very tight use of the rail into the Judgment Rush. Anytime you got a Judgment Rush very low to the screen, it's just, it's so scary. Because, like, what if you didn't do your targeting right? Suddenly you're just falling directly above a pit. You lost all your horizontal momentum. You're not going to hit a wall.
One last piece of shopping they also did before this got a maxed out meter. Maybe there's one more they can go on the darkness meter.
I think it can go to 5, yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it can go to 5.
Do you want to give a shout out to Mick Tagger for the 19 months, adding still to that prize pool. And again, guys, at 42069, in some order, that is exactly that order. We'll race all 4 campaigns. One day,
listen,
we will go a little
I don't
slower.
need more on my plate, so I'm okay if it doesn't happen. But y'all like your fun numbers, and if you want to make it happen, we'll make it happen.
We'll do it.
All right, into the boss fight here, and you can see now that their kit is kind of more or less completed. I don't know, they might be doing a little bit more, but now that they've kind of really built up their resources, boss just goes down. Just goes down like a chump.
Big slay.
Melted by the basketballs and slashes that are all happening along the way.
Here's our last flashback. Bye, flashback. That was just the last confirmation of the Enchantress being like, yo, you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, okay. God. I love this speedrun. It's so good. Polar, I was going to say, I feel like we have not seen Polar Night yet, and I think that is the last one that they have to do. And it's a shorter end game here. Kind of the fact that you have the 2 flashback stages, kind of almost I feel like that made up for one of the stages. So it's really just going to be one big stage and then the Enchantress fights. And then we are on to the final campaign.
When in general, if I recall correctly, I think the stages are just shorter in Spectre Knight compared to like Shovel. But part of that may also just be the fact that they're skating around on a little hoverboard doing it.
Right.
Very great boss from David as well. Wrap up the King Knight fight. I feel like these have been staggered in such a way that I like look over to see the state of the race, and David's just like standing over the corpse of another fallen hero. Right. It's like it's pretty great.
Oh, nice double smack right there. Quick ones. Little couple different mechanics being thrown down and featured here. Oh, the basketball from long distance to open up that platform. From long distance. Also switching the direction of the grind rails.
Yeah, this is a really cool stage. I was really worried for a second there when we used the Judgment Rush, but we're good. We're good. He's moving on.
God, that saved like 12 screens, that Judgment Rush right there. That alone was worth the Judgment Rush purchase. Jesus.
But was it worth the tutorial screens? I don't know.
That's valid. Now, thankfully, Judgment Rush is a fast thing, so even in the tutorial goes by pretty quick there.
David making quick work of that mini boss that we saw from him earlier. It's just like it was barely even on screen. Did we even notice it?
I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
It was a bird, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Moo our first one on to Polar, though.
Here
How's
we
this
are.
one going to go? I have a feeling somebody might be playing for the NBA. And his name is not Polar Knight.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
He tried to run away, dude. He was like, nah, man, fuck this.
Get me out of here.
It legit looked like he was running away. He was like, no, man, no.
You can tell as we've gotten further in these campaigns, too, Spike and I know less and less about the individual strategies for the various boss fights and stuff.
We're just watching and
we just love to watch the colors fly and the bosses melt.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to take on the casual view and just be the voice of the screamer. We're shotcasting the more as we go.
The shot, dude, that was like a Kobe shot. Just fucking threw the basketball off in the left corner as the enemy was getting in his way. Or heading to the path for it, would have been in his way. And just got knocked away. Some rapid judgment rushes from Moo. 3 quick ones right in a row.
Oh, and the beautiful damage boost right as he gained just enough height there. Off the flame coming down. Oh,
David, placing the basketball so that way after like 3 bounces, they went and hit the boss. Think slightly slower on this fight, but just has to be hopeful that he's not going to fall into those spikes. Hits him at the top of the screen with a well-timed bounce.
God.
So, swag finish for David, even if he might have lost just a tiny bit of time there.
That absolute window screensaver bounce. Now going through here for Moo.
Did he already
Definitely
get through this Crusher cycle, or is it still at the end? I know that there's a really tight one here. We might be too late. Might have already happened, but we'll see. Oh, that's pretty tight. I don't know if that was the same thing or if it was earlier in that same screen, but getting that cycle in general is very difficult, I know.
Love when they're climbing the ladders and those like thin little wall-to-wall moments. A little bit faster, just kick off the wall a bunch of times rapidly. Big Bertha's back. And we're saying getting the fuck out of here. Oh, with kissing off of her and a boost back to the right. Beautiful stuff.
David has to go say hi and ask her to apologize for what she did earlier.
No,
I actually thought for a moment there that David had slipped, but he was able to hit the side of the book and catch himself. Get some slick movement from Moomoo's replay as well at the tail end of that kiss. A little smooch. All right, now David's chance at the Crusher cycle. Got to use all the tools in the tool belt here in order to help him out. Hopping off the wall and trying to make sure that he can get to each platform as early as possible. Walking up the side, and yeah, wow, he sailed through that. I don't know if it was the same cycle or not. It's hard to tell for us who are not seasoned runners of this game or anything, but it looked really clean to me.
Yeah, really good stuff all the way through this stage for both of them. Moo out of darkness, picking it back up. Not going to need the health, though, as we're going to one more battle with Black Knight. And what might be the last time we face Black Knight for the night. I don't know if Big
Knight's the turtle this time. All right,
and his
try for another
turtle.
stun lock here, I think, or he might be able to break out of this one pretty reliably, but regardless, he's just trying to chase him down. Keep up the damage as much as possible. You can notice he's not going with the basketball spam this time. I don't remember if the boss is immune or if he just like changes up his patterns when you do that. But regardless, they're obviously doing what is the fastest strat. And it seemed pretty good for Moo. I don't know how reliably you can have him not jump around the arena, though. We can see if David can have a faster fight.
Yeah, looked pretty damn good to me. As Moo is now going into the final bosses of Spectre Knight, going to be dropping down, heading to the Enchantress, and then the final grind rail section with the boss attached to it.
Yeah, I like the fake out that you drop down just to rise up.
Right. I feel like they were really going for that. Oh, God. Everyone was annoyed that Play Night was like the same level. Now we're going all different now. Yo, Moo big chilling up here on the corner of the screen.
All right, but let's look at the right side because we've got David into the Black Knight fight now as well. Good little bounce to knock him off the turtle at the front. And then, yeah, he's hopping around just trying to chase him down. You can see only minimal usage of the basketballs here, not spamming them like we have been on the previous bosses. Starting to see some magic as Black Knight was getting some hits in there. David having to worry about the little like turtle rhino as well. Who's kind of directly in the path of where he wanted to go attack. And yeah, he's just trying to have to nail him with a ricochet shot here. But he
had like 4 basketballs on screen, and none of them would hit him for the last damage. All right, we got the Enchantress.
Yeah, this is not going to be the final
those
boss.
basketballs just absolutely copy pasted on her face. Oh my god,
that was great.
So
just
strong.
Following the same path of the dive that Enchantress was taking, so they could just keep constantly dealing damage. Incredible.
Final boss of our penultimate campaign right here with Spectre Knight. We're going to be rail grinding, putting on our Tony Hawk, and taking on... This is like the son of Luan. It is what it is. Yeah, this is Reese.
It's Reese, yeah. Nightmare Reese.
Giving people the lore for who are like, wait, who is he?
Yeah.
I do appreciate that they got lore. Those like extra nights and the...
the optional ones. I love the timing that you have to have with the basketball throws here. Moo dipped down low to the lower rail for a moment there, but it's just like you throw them and it looks like they miss, but it's actually just so that they hit a little bit later. Always thought that was really cool. 2.5 hearts left on the boss, just like that, down to 1.5. And we're trying to wrap this one up. I could be mistaken, but I don't think that was the fastest fight for MooMoo.
Yeah, I feel like you probably optimally kill it before it gets to that last little gap.
Yeah,
again, we don't run it. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's been a while, but he did take him out, and he is going into King Knight with a lead, exactly where MooMoo wants to be. David, though, not where he wants to be. He's sitting on the ground and sent back to a checkpoint. That Enchantress can be real mean, and unfortunately depleted all of his health. You can see the final moments here for David. Yeah, a dive he wasn't expecting, or maybe you thought he was going to get that slash to make him unable to be damaged by the boss's body, but unfortunately, yeah, he did not get the slash to connect before Enchantress connected with him. Was able to get a very solid fight on the refight though, so always some silver linings there. And you know, if there was a campaign for him to be behind in, it's gonna be this one. Like, this is gonna be a very close 4 campaigns now going into the King Knight campaign.
All right, making his way through. Let's see if he can make up maybe a little bit of time right here. People in chat saying there's a little bit of randomness to it. He's got 6 full health bars. Still got to take out on Dark Reese, on Nightmare Reese. Maybe trying to get into the King cards, which again is the shortest campaign, kind of by far. World record at under 31 minutes.
David got knocked back there. I got real worried for a second, but he opts stick on the lower rail for that swing.
Yeah.
Going to be moving back up to the top one. I think he's getting a similar length fight to what we saw from MooMoo here.
And
final hit.
That's going to do it. All right. Probably that death made things a little less comfortable for sure for David. He's going to have to do a lot to catch back up. But here we are now into the King Knight, our final campaign of the night. And my dude is Wario. He likes to shield bash everything he's... Say shield bash. He likes to shoulder bash everything he sees, putting him into ballerina twirls. You can also double tap the button or hold it or something. I forget what it is, to get him to do a little roll as well with it.
Yeah, and you're going to see them do that a lot, because actually doing the core mechanic of this run, bashing into a wall and then spinning up like we just saw from MooMoo, is often one of the slowest things you can do. So we're going to see him opt not to do that whenever possible, and instead use a lot of those rolls or various other techniques as we kind of progress further on in this run that they unlock. They're going to be using a lot of that to kind of just let them keep moving without having to bash into a wall whenever possible.
Once again, you do have the unique collectible of this campaign. The little medals or whatever they're called. Again, I've made up, they're just what they are on screen for every one of them we've seen tonight. But yeah, they're going to be picking up those as well. Those along with money, because again, they're going to need a couple of core upgrades to go through this stuff really, really fast.
We're getting blocked just a little bit there from one of the frogs. Or not frogs, the slimes, rather. but he was able to move through. And some real nice rolling to get through as many of those blocks as possible all at once. And now David, a man on a mission. He's got a little bit of a deficit going into this one, but hey, it's not like it's a full stage or anything. I mean, I guess it was like the full half stage. Right. They have these little, these things.
Yeah, I always use, so this game's a little more based almost off of like Super Mario World style.
Yeah.
And there's Super Mario Brothers 3, and the fact that the levels are very, very short. Almost all of them only have like one checkpoint to them, so you're gonna get through them very, very quickly. Your mom tried to sell you some health right there. Didn't want any of it. We want us to hold on to our cash right now for other stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of levels with 2 different exits, so they can take secret exits, and they won't necessarily go to all of the different levels. They'll go to a very obviously small amount of them. It's about 30 little minute-long stages right there. So David already at the end of his first, Moo now in his third. I believe this is the one that's going to end them with facing off against Spectre Knight, who's kind of like your rival in this campaign in a way.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, because you get 2 or more stages for every themed world, like that's why I tend to think of it as almost like it's all one stage, even though it's 2 levels for a little while. But yeah, Moo really just won, themed world ahead. Like he's in the Lich Yard instead of the I don't remember the name of the first level. But regardless,
well, they're both still in the first kind of area. Maybe this kind of blends.
No, the first area, but isn't this is Lich Yard though, right?
It still looks like the Mossy area, I would say. You're going to end up I feel like it's probably like the blending into Lich Yard as you go. We're talking semantics right here. Whatever. But either way, let's take on Spectre Knight, our first boss of the campaign.
Another prequel, so yeah, it's probably just before it's become too spooky.
Yeah, we do have, this is one of the bigger elements of RNG for any of the bosses right here.
And with you having to constantly ram your face into enemies to deal damage, the game uses a totally different system for how you like your health works almost. You will take a lot of damage just naturally by needing to charge at bosses and position yourself closely. But as you hit them, they'll actually pop out hearts for you to collect to heal mid-fight, something that you couldn't really do very often in the other campaigns or sometimes ever.
Yeah. Also for the fact that just, each of your hearts only are 1 hit. They don't have like half hits to them or anything. Now, right here, this is supposed to be where casually you learn how to play the card game and everything. Nope, you can just leave it instantly. Yacht Club Games put a full-fledged card game into this that you think a lot of it's going to be based around. It is 100% skippable. And you're actually going to see this a lot. It's the only campaign that does that. Because some of the cutscenes are a little bit longer, it is actually faster just to quit out of the game and come back in to skip over there, saving yourself just a little bit of time in the long run. Now going into King Knight's kind of main stages right here, where a lot of this, they're also going to be trying to take specific paths through the worlds, obviously to go through them quickly, but also to get to some of their super awesome abilities that they can unlock in secret hidden levels, hidden in the world map.
And it's, again, been a little while since I've watched one of these, and it's just fun seeing the constant rolls. Realizing that he needed to hold up on that one.
Screen.
Yeah, there's so much of the way that the movement works in this game is centered around you needing to know exactly how far you're going to travel with every button press and knowing how to hold back when you need to prevent yourself from going too far, knowing when to roll, when not to roll, all that kind of thing. And now they get another, they get a relic, because of course there are the little special relics in this game. What does this one do for him, Spike?
Yeah, this one is basically, all of you who like to watch our channel, us play Kingdom Hearts 2, this is a form of Reflect. You can put up this little protective barrier, do a roll mid-air with it, and then actually charge up the damage that would have been done to you and send it back at your opponent. It's such a cool ability that they're going to have access to throughout the course of this run.
Helps him clear a lot of the enemies, but we're seeing Moo with a few little hiccups in his movement here. Fell down to the bottom in that previous screen and then didn't quite get through the next screen as quickly as he was looking to either. So David with some big opportunities here in this one to try to kind of push back into this race. kind of close that gap that had been built up over the course of Spectre Knight.
You see, that's why they were picking up those medals throughout this early part of the game. I do know they at least also want a piece of armor coming up. So that will not be the last purchase of the night for them. Oh, you can see all of a sudden it's again each of their different specialties. That screen was so fucking clean by David. Oh my gosh, already making up massive time right there. But again, this is a short campaign. It goes by pretty fast. Can he do it? Moo currently with the lead. Right now, Moo also breaking that checkpoint, has to kind of pin himself up against the ceiling a little bit, break it open because yeah, they need a little bit in order to buy that armor set later on.
Man, and every time they need to leave a room through the bottom where there's like a dirt block blocking it, it's like the worst feeling comparatively in this game,
yeah,
like in this campaign, because they have to just bash into a wall, pop up into the air, and wait until they can land to break that block.
First major boss of the King Knight campaign right here. Taking on this guy, I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. This is the actual King of Pridemore Keep.
God, this is so hard to do, what Moo is trying to do right here. Kind of as he's passing through him, release the turncoat onto his face right there. Yeah, wasn't quite able to hit the quick kills. Let's see if David is able to make up a lot of time right here.
And David already did in the previous stage, too. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so Moo does finish off the boss, but yeah, like you said, definitely showing that this is the one that Moo knew he needed a lead going into. How much of a lead is enough is the real question here. Because David is looking clean as all hell in this campaign. Like, even down to this checkpoint grab, that felt faster to me.
Yeah, just a little bit, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, some more purchasing being done by Moo. Different coat here. Not sure what the advantage to this one are.
Yeah, so the advantage to this coat, I believe, and again, Chad can correct me if I'm wrong, which I usually am. I believe this one allows you to charge up a shoulder bash that you can send in any direction, including going up. So it actually is going to allow them for a lot more versatility in how they can throw out those shoulder bashes.
Oh, really neat.
Yeah, now you're going to get to see. I think you wouldn't think it for this game. I think this one becomes just as exciting and high energy movement wise as Spectre Knight once you piece all this together.
David here on the King fight is doing really well. He had to take a couple damage boosts at the end there in order to keep hitting the boss, but definitely a solid, fast fight. A little bit faster there than Moo, and he just keeps clawing second after second back away from Moo to try to eventually pull for the maybe inevitable lead change. We'll see.
We'll see. We're in our second of 3 main worlds right here for Moo. Couple of minor stages and really only one right now. So David already feeling like he's made up a ton of time. But again, Moo, no slouch. A top 5 runner of King Knight right here.
And one of the other things that they're doing, you can see Moo do it right there, and will continue to do it in a lot of these sections, is when they charge up the dash mechanic there with the turncoat that they have, they will also cancel it a lot of the times with a roll to immediately just start moving horizontally. See, Moo needed to come back up there and grab the ring. I believe this is for a secret exit.
Yep. Yeah, this should be for a secret exit.
The level path that he'll have available to him. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of usage of like dashing upwards and then canceling it with a roll to just quickly start moving back to the right. Moo definitely having a little bit of trouble with this screen. Bertha and the falling orbs not being nice. Finally gets over to the goal ring. Meanwhile, David trying to plow through the stages himself. I feel that when we look back over there and it's like, okay, the animations. He's only one like stage behind, really.
Yeah, just the big Bertha stage behind. That's it. Now we get to peek into the Explodatorium a little bit. For our next here, we got these corks right here. Gonna skip over a lot of the level design right there with the armor they got, with the turncoat, charging it up off of the spikes right there, actually, and shooting it back out. Beautiful stuff. Oh, the baiting over of the enemy from Moomoo. Let's get a replay over there on the left side.
Meanwhile, I'm looking over at David's side as well to just see how cleanly he's going through these stages. The screen was a little bit of a rough one for Moomoo, and of course, no problems for David as he heads towards his secret exit. And then the secret exit itself definitely had, you know, its issues. Let's see if David can handle Bertha a little bit better. Oh, where? What Bertha?
What Bertha?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Yeah, David really showing his prowess now with the King Knight run.
Yeah, just like such minor amounts of height off of every single one of those jumps to just touch the next part of the platform. Yeah, David absolutely flying, seeing, hey, I got plenty of run left. Oh, love the shield bash into the ballerina twirl from Moomoo right there, and then immediately charging up that that shoulder bash, going straight down actually in between each of those. Great stuff.
Got it. And as I was watching David do the skip there with like the baiting the enemy and stuff, it's easy to forget that they're also like skipping all these cork cycles while doing that. It's just beautiful.
Moomoo up here going for another secret exit.
See David just flying across the air. A lot of death-defying moments in the King Knight run. Maybe even more so than Spectre.
David, another quit out, skipping out on a cutscene. It is staying at a one-level deficit constantly as Moomoo moves into the boss here of World 2 of 3.5.
It's staying one stage, but David's definitely making up time because he's like getting into the stage a little bit sooner than like Moomoo's getting into the next one stuff. It's seconds at a time, but it's almost every stage David's getting seconds at a time. So yeah, he's really having some clean movement. Move into the stage just before, you know, fighting the boss, the Troupple King.
Yeah, he gets to come back. Yeah, she gets to be a boss. I forgot in my incentive to like go do anything with the Troupple King. I was like, oh, he Angie. Okay, this is where we get to see him. Utilizing the boat right here. Now, I do believe they have worked out a skip for this boat, but literally no one does it.
Are you serious? Like, that sounds incredibly stupid. Like,
just dumb. Like, don't do it. But don't do it.
Oh my god. David flying through the rest of Explodatorium.
So he should be on the same stage as Moomoo now, going into the boss of World 2, Troupple King right here.
Moomoo just riding it out.
Chill. Oh my gosh. I love things like this in speedrunning where people find out, oh, you just stand right here.
Yeah.
Damn.
He got hit. Ruined.
And again, doesn't have a lot of health to work with to know. No. Might get a health refill before they go into the Troupple King. Not sure.
Well, in the meantime, while Moomoo's waiting through the scroller, we can focus our attention on David. Just just getting enough height to make sure he gets that next shield bash, just canceling a lot of things with the roll and with the, as you called it, I like to think of it as a reflect as well. The kind of reflect turncoat. And even just taking out these, like, the little fairies. I think Moomoo, for the most part, was taking them out by bashing and rolling through them.
We need a replay.
Moomoo have another incredible save.
Look at this.
Oh my god, what?
Oh my god.
Holy crap. So David, an auto scroller and a boss fight behind.
All right, skipping out. Moomoo's got one massive world left to go before going off to the Enchantress's castle. Got to make our way over to the bird, though.
How has it been 2.5 hours? Like, it doesn't feel like it. These runs have just sped on by.
Again, I brought it up earlier, but just it's so impressive how, like, we're sitting there like, oh my god, David, and it makes it look like we're making fun of Moo. It's like Moo's like top 5.
No, yeah, Moo is like, incredible.
They're so good at all 4 of these. It's just we're seeing that extra level of prowess for the ones that they've each focused on. Saw earlier with Moo with Spectre Knight, David here with King Knight.
And it looked like David was trying to finish that boss off just about a couple swipes earlier. I imagine that is the quick kill he was looking for. It looked like it was just slightly off from that. But regardless, a very strong fight.
All right, Moo keeping that very short stage lead. Going through Tinker Knight stuff. Another Tinker Knight level right here.
Man, it's when you see this game in the right hands, it's it's really cool just seeing all the rolls and the movement. Having to get all that spacing correct. Knowing when that they're going to use the reflect stuff, when to use the vigor. Of course, we get some jamming music again.
Yep, jamming. Love Tinker Knight. Say just bass Tinker Knight music, even without the remix. Remix is great as well, though. Who's the composer of these games? Because they did a good job. Just tonight, we got to show their whole resume. It's so good.
I actually don't recall. I need to get that into my brain. It was Jake Kaufman. Okay, yeah, Richard's on top of it. He knows. That's right.
Yeah. Love this screen right here from David. Staying airborne for so long, keeping those screens going. Oh,
just had to drop down to the lower one, but thankfully he saw that in time and was able to kind of adapt and make sure he landed there. Recovered nicely.
All right, still 1 level behind for David.
Another save and quit for Moo. See how David does with this stage. God, love those dashes into the rolls to like cancel them out because they get more height out of it, but also just start booking it towards the direction they're trying to move. The height often can almost be inconsequential. Like sometimes they need it, but a lot of times they just need to start moving.
You can see how nice it is to have access to those vertical shoulder bashes right there. And you can go over the top of that. I had no idea.
I don't know if you can't go over the top of that other one or if he just didn't like it at that point. Like he didn't want to.
I know in an interview with some of the Shovel Knight devs, they talked about King Knight was basically where they dumped all the ideas they had. David, the beautiful ending of that screen right there, going up over the top of all that crap.
Didn't have to worry about landing on any of those platforms, the upper or the lower. He just went straight to the goal ring. Look at that, just boom.
Now we get to dip into one little bit of Propeller Knight stages.
Okay. Again, cannot stress how great the music is. Like every now and then, if we just shut up, it's just because we're grooving.
Yeah, we're just big vibing, dude.
I love the downwards dash. Honestly, that is something that anytime there's an omnidirectional dash in a video game, downwards dashing, I think is one of those things that like you don't do until you start hitting the top level of the speedrun.
Yeah.
And
you're
that's
saving that little bit of extra time.
Yeah, they usually get really scary. On the right side for David, we missed it for Moo earlier, but a blind, kind of completion to this auto scroller. David is maneuvering around, I believe, trying to get ahead of this thing. He dropped down to the bottom left. I don't know if that was intentional or not, or if he had just slightly mispositioned. But yeah, completing that auto scroller while it's still moving. Incredible.
Yeah, looks like he had a little bit of sloppiness up there, but was able to get it done. And now Moo about to go into the second Spectre Knight fight right here, where they're going to be trying to go for, I think, effectively a phase skip right now. He's supposed to have 2 full health bars to him. We'll see. I could be misremembering some things. Using the turncoat, already dealing out tons of damage right now off of all of those hits at the beginning. And then right here, I believe they try to like pin him up against the ceiling.
I'm just mesmerized. I'm just watching, waiting. There we go. Now he's higher up. He's able to get a lot of damage, but wasn't quite able to skip the phase. So potential big time save for David here when he gets up there in just a moment. Yeah, and also, Moo is sitting at 1L. Yeah, there we go. He was able to pick up a heart now. Those do not stay on screen for very long. He's not bothering to go for it either. You just got to keep dishing out the damage. This is a long amount of time if he's able to skip all of this.
Yeah, so that is a massive time save on the table for David right now. Moo's about to go into the boss of World 3 right here, and then is just into the Enchantress stages.
Oh, man. I love how much of a nail biter this is going to end up being.
Oh, my God. All right, let's see it. Coming in again with those big turncoats. The double coming in for the triple. Now shield bashing him.
Yeah, that's even canceling it into a roll, so that way he's not getting popped up into the air. Oh, man, reflecting some damage. Okay, here we go. He got it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, skipped over the second phase of the fight completely. David with the massive time save. He's been getting it in small increments throughout the run, but that was a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely massive. Completely skipping that off of MooMoo's side of the screen. But MooMoo still with the advantage with just a couple levels left to go in this grueling, for the hands, I'm sure, 4-campaign race of Shovel Knight.
And still dashing their way across whenever they can, sometimes upwards, sometimes off to the side. Like it's almost shocking that they're not just doing it on any open stretch. It's very purposeful when it's being used. Now the bird boss, Enchantress with their energy falcons.
Oh, the almost elbow drop right there. That is what it is. I'm calling it's the elbow drop from now on.
It's pretty great. Oh, just kind of hanging out in near the ceiling, staying away from MooMoo. There was a lot of time there where he wasn't dealing damage. Okay, got in some rapid hits there, but needs to keep the pressure on. You know, we're used to those other campaigns where these bosses are dying in 1 second. Oh, just a few hits to go.
There it is. All right.
We're holding on to his lead.
Going into the final world for MooMoo. I believe it's 2 stages and then final boss fights right here. So still a fair amount left on the table.
See how David does with this boss. Similar
Oh,
opening.
Got away.
The meat grinder, though, dealt so much damage just twirling on top of the boss and bonking his head on the ceiling. That was another huge time save for David.
Oh, my Lanta. We're going to the final world, ladies and gents.
That was incredible. Just meat grinding away. Oh, my God.
I want to hear it, chat. Who are you rooting for right now? This has been such a fun episode of SRU right here. And we got $112 in your
Should we do a last-minute prediction right now? I'm doing it.
Who's going to hold on? Go for it. Go for it.
Last-minute prediction, everybody. Who's going to win? Who is going to win?
You got MooMoo with the lead. David's been making up so much time all over this campaign. But is it too little, too late? We'll find out.
I'm doing it. You got like 60 seconds to vote. Starting the prediction. Go for it.
You got.
Oh, man.
Yeah, people say like about a 35-second difference.
Because it's really close right now. Like, again, if we look at just the raw time difference, MooMoo's got a pretty nice lead. But if we look at how much that difference has been, like that gap has been closed throughout this entire run, but especially over the last couple fights, it is not a gigantic difference anymore. MooMoo does get to the goal ring as Amadi gifts 20 gift subs. Pumping up the prize pool for our runners. Thank you so much.
Trying to get it in striking distance, making us go and play these campaigns. Again, 420 is the ultimate goal, chat.
All right, predictions closing. We'll see. I want to see who the crowd favorite is. Let's find out. 1 second. And it disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where it went.
David getting onto the hook as well.
Oh, people are thinking Moo. 75% for Moo right now.
Well, hold on. Again, this is one of those where, like, if Moo doesn't die, he's probably fine.
Okay, here's the thing. The gambles for Moo, the number of people is actually in David's favor.
Ooh.
So somebody's got a lot of faith for Moo. Moo supporters have a lot of faith, but there are fewer of them. All right, chat. We'll see. We'll see who ends up winning tonight.
All these ice showing off his ice skating prowess right here from King Knight. Able to do some beautiful...
Has been sitting at 1 health for so long. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. And it is tied.
Oh
it is
my
synced.
god.
It is absolutely synced right now.
What in the world? Oh, David takes the slight lead. Gets into the screen sooner. Holy shit. Like, what do we even say? We're just watching.
I was talking about the ice. I was talking about the ice skating. How did I curse him? Like what? Unbelievable, David with his first lead since I think Plague Night, or Moo might have taken the lead in Spectre Night.
Yeah, Moo took the lead in Spectre.
Yeah,
David started out with a lead in that one. So, a photo finish. This might come down to.
Yeah, this is the last main stage before the final bosses. And as you can see, the level wraps right here. You can use the turncoat even on the spikes as we're showing.
He's just the movement. David skipping as much of this climb as he can. The use of that dash. It's funny because it almost looks like a Celeste wall bounce at times.
Yeah.
You know?
This would have come out after Celeste, so I had a little inspiration there.
I don't think the wall is playing an actual part, though. I think they're just canceling.
Yeah.
It's just funny with how close they are to the walls sometimes. All right, into the auto scroller. David's still got a lead.
The final auto scroller of the night. We are almost 2 hours and 40 minutes into this 4-campaign race with our runners, and David has a probably less than 5-second lead.
Everybody's noticing it in chat. Moo skipped the checkpoint. Some big confidence from the man who just took a death to even the race out. Also, we're gonna have to remember to pay Moo for keeping it to the script.
Like, holy shit! Yeah. I was saying 2 seconds. That's a massive amount of time right now.
Yeah.
Unflippin' believable. This has been such a fun race to watch.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, I had heard this is also an auto scroller. You technically can do blind, but it's too hard.
It's ridiculous. It's one of those, oh, it's TAS only, so one day.
Yeah.
One day people will be doing it. It won't have gotten any easier. People will just...
Moomoo's trying to go for it. No, okay. I was like, he's off screen. Could you imagine? That'd be the greatest moment in SRU history. He pulls it off and wins the race because of, look at the, holy shit! Holy shit! Are you kidding me? What? Look at this! Are you kidding me? He hit it slightly early. Oh my god!
Oh my god! They closed those walls at the exact same time. The only reason David has the tiniest of leads right now is like menuing / like cutscene skips / maybe even loading. Like, what in the world?
Oh my god, dude!
This is ridiculous. Oh, it's so close.
I gotta clear those out. This is unbelievable. I'm just watching. They are making their way to the.
Oh no! Moomoo didn't quite make it to the platform. Oh, that's gonna probably do it.
Unless David would have to take a death here.
Yeah, unless David takes a fall. Oh wow! With such the hero play and the auto
for
scroller,
MooMoo on this final go through. One in Shovel Knight and one in here.
Oh man, David with some big damage being applied, trying to get up on top of Enchantress, it looks like. Oh, with the dashes into the twirl. Fantastic. Wraps up that fight. I don't remember. It's been a while. Oh, I remember what the final boss is now, actually.
Yeah.
This boss, if I remember correctly, can get melted pretty quick in the right hands.
It can, yeah, if you know how to stay on top of it the whole time. I believe it's 2 phases, though.
So, yeah. But, yeah, the first phase should go pretty quick. The second phase, though, is the one I was really talking about. Could get, like, super melted.
Yeah. Yeah, turncoat allowing for some damage underneath. Great fight right there, honestly, by MooMoo.
But you know what? This is not like this is a scary fight too. Actually, wait, is this 2-phase?
Yeah, it's 2-phase.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this can be a scary fight. It's not over.
He got stuck.
David is at half health now. 1 heart. He's got to go pick this up. Yeah, you can't risk that in this situation. He's back down to 1 heart. He's so close to. Oh my God, he's hopping around, trying to stay alive. He spawns a heart, but he can't go get it yet. He's got to keep this chain going as long as he can if the boss is going to allow him to. There's now shit falling from the
and he just got all the health right there.
Oh, max out the refill. Thank God for the David fans.
Whoa, he flew up. Oh,
he's dead.
He's dead. Got dunked. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. He got dunked with 1 health left. Are you kidding me?
MooMoo has the boss down to a third. 3 health remains. 2.5. He's now taking some damage. He's picking up some hearts. Doesn't want to fall in the pit, but there's none that exist for him yet. Back up to full health. First phase almost down.
Look at both of their health. Look at that.
Oh my God, David with the cleaner fight.
Oh my gosh, and then MooMoo got dunked.
David moves on to the second and final phase of this boss. MooMoo has to start the boss over. If he gets a super clean fight, he could try to make something happen, but we'll see. David immediately takes damage, but then he's going to bash
we're almost at time.
That's it, time. Time for David.
Time for David.
Oh my God. That second phase basically didn't even exist for David either. 1 health. Oh, 1 health for MooMoo. But also the boss has 1 health. Okay, he gets a health refill. He gets a bash in there. Oh my God, what a race.
Oh my gosh. MooMoo now going into the final phase. Just try to stay on top of him the whole way.
On top early. It takes the damage boost. Down to 2 health.
Yeah,
can he deal everything to the boss?
1 time. Wow.
Oh my God.
What is that, 7? So yeah. Wow. 32 seconds. Unbelievable.
Holy shit.
And now we got to do it.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Zeldin, thank you for the amount of subs and necrofits for the 5-pack at the end as well.
Oh my God. I didn't even see that. I was so focused on everything happening. Holy shit. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to MooMoo and to David. Oh my God.
One of the greatest races we've ever had in Speedrunning Underground.
How does this keep happening?
Buckets, dude.
Like we said, one of our huge priorities whenever we do this is we try our hardest to pick 2 opponents. We don't give a fuck if they're 2nd and 3rd like we had in most of the campaigns tonight. We don't care if they're 24th and 25th or 400th and 407. Like, as long as we think it's going to be a close race, we try to pick those people. And yeah, we got that tonight.
Holy, it was like both runners were deathless through like all of the King Knight campaign. And then right at the end, it was just on either side. The sync going into the final boss, you think it's over. And then, or you think, oh my gosh. And then Moo takes the death. It's over. There's no way. And then all of a sudden, the dunkening on the right side of the screen. It's over, but in the other direction. And then Moo takes the death.
God.
And we were sitting there like, oh my God, are they going to be sync going into the final bit? I thought we were about to have a 2-hour, 45-minute fucking tie, chat. Please go follow both of these awesome runners. They don't have nearly enough viewers. MooMooAkai, davidtki. Give them both some love. Absolute legends of a lot of speed runs, but all the Shovel Knight campaigns right here. This was so much fun to get to watch. We got to just chill. Obviously, neither of us run the game. We're about to run it. I'm about to do a playthrough. Thank y'all so much for that awesome looking prize pool. Over $420.69. Y'all went even further beyond. And I thank y'all for that. Look at Shovel Knight right up here next to me. He's bouncing up and down. He's so happy.
Oh, thank you all so much. I'm so glad we got to commentate this and really just watch that ending. And we'll see y'all next week for something different. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.